channel. It is London Derby Day. It is important. This is massive. This is absolutely massive. And some of you might be sat here wondering, Sam, why are you sat at your desk? Why aren't you in your fantastic, lovely setup than usual? We are having a guest who will be joining us in a short while. So hence why he will be, this is a little bit of a different setup. It's a little bit makeshift. But once he comes on, I'll get my green screen back up and we can get ourselves sorted, can't we? And we can get everything sorted for the game. And we're 30 minutes away from kickoff. The conversation's really going to start, like I say, when our guest for today, whose name is Hyro, joins us. And he is a Spurs fan. So it's going to be interesting to see. I'm sure you guys will enjoy the game as a result of the fact it's going to be fun because it's not just the Chelsea fan you're experiencing this time. It will be both a Chelsea fan and a Spurs fan in one go as well. And Dean, I put my Mount shirt on backwards, but it was really painful to do so. Apologies, I was just trying to make sure that all the sound was working. It's really tight, as you can see on my neck. It's really tight, so if this bit's here, really tight. But if you want the satisfaction, Dean, here it is. Mason Mount, and Shrafters messing me about because I was late. I am sorry. But we will talk about Chelsea and Tottenham. Like I said, we have got a guest who will be joining us imminently, just running a couple of minutes late. So I thought, let's get the ball on the road. Let's get talking Tottenham. Let's get talking Chelsea and how important this game is for both teams this season. As you can see, champions of Europe, Chelsea, obviously, this time out. Next time, who knows? And it could be a massive game if they want to retain their Champions League title and potentially, go back to back. Who knows? We've got to get back to back first, but it's a massively important game because we'll go through the table in a little bit. But if you look at the Premier League table this season, I do believe Spurs have 4 games in hand on Chelsea, but sit only a couple of points behind, which obviously means that Spurs are more than capable of catching Chelsea, and so are Arsenal. So I think Arsenal will be secretly sat there going, you know what? I know there's a big rivalry with the North London derby, but I think Arsenal fans are going to be pushing that one to one side, because if Spurs can get a result today, it sets it up perfectly for Arsenal and Spurs to get themselves back in that top 4 hunt, and not only a top 4 hunt, but also third place. It really gets them back in. But Chelsea, of course, there is still some people who like to dream, think that Chelsea are actually still in the title race. I'm not so sure. But for those who do think that Chelsea is still in the title race, today is, and I've said it the last 2 games, and we seem to drop points every time I say this, so it's probably not a good omen, but today is a must-win game. It is a must-win game. This is the biggest one of them all for us. It's against Spurs, it's against our rivals, the people who dislike us, we dislike them. Massively important, this game. Hugely, immensely important. But let's have a look at what you guys are saying. Let's get into the chat and we'll get talking and fill a bit of time until we get our guest on. So we've had Craig in here as well, saying he was the first here. Good stuff, Craig. Great to see you. Stacey's been in the chat as well. How are we doing, Stacey, if you're still in the chat? And the True Lion's been here, of course, Shrafter and Dean as well. And Chelsea have been horrible, and Shrafter saying Tuchel out. I don't think so. Not quite yet. But Zidane in. That's a different one, isn't it? That is a different one. I'm sure Zidane has got his sights on some job. Who knows what type of job it may be. Do let me know if the background music is the perfect level or if it just needs bringing down a touch like that. Maybe that sounds a little bit better. And do let me know if it does get repetitive as well. I'm just trying it out because it's like I can change the songs. It's just the new feature they've added into StreamYard. So I thought, why not? Especially whilst we're talking, there's no football going on, no action. Why not sit down and talk and have some music in the background? But what I'm going to do is for you guys, Liverpool won 3-1, says Stacey. Stacey must be happy. I don't know. Maybe she's happy. But Liverpool gaining some ground. I have worn it backwards, Dean, and it's just not very comfortable. It's not very practical, and you'll only be able to see this bit anyway, and the mount bit's not that high up. So it's not very practical, Dean. Not very practical. Maybe if I can try, I don't know. It's because obviously when you wear it, the back bit's higher than the front bit, isn't it? Because that's how it's supposed to sit. But it's a weird one. Imagine if he joins. That'd be funny. Yeah, exactly. Let me get Sofa Scores up for us, guys, and we'll go through the teams whilst we wait for Hyro, our guest of honour today. We will wait for Hyro to join us this afternoon, and let's have a look then, ladies and gents. Let's have a look. So, if I share my screen right now, you guys should hopefully be able to see. I think that's it. Let's have a look. Is that a good sight? Yeah, I think you guys can view that quite nicely. If I just try and zoom in a little bit further, will that help? There we are. That's much better. So, here are the teams for today. We've got two teams that, as you can see, on paper, I'm really confused. I must say I'm quite confused at this as to how this team is going to set up, especially the Spurs side. Chelsea's side looks really strange, but both sides on paper, if you know what I mean, they look weird. Like they don't look like traditional formations, or it doesn't really look like anyone knows how these two teams are going to set up starting this game. However, let's go through Chelsea's side. Hopefully Hyro will be here in a moment, and then we can go through Spurs' side with him. Starting off in goal is Kepa. Mendy still away with Senegal. Then it looks like it's going to be a 4 at the back. And I say it looks like it. I've spoken a couple of times about the fact that it is how do I describe it? It's like an elbow formation, this Chelsea formation. So if you can see here, where Malang are and all these guys are. So what I will suggest is going to happen is that these three will be the three at the back, and then it will act more as an elbow. So I think Aspilicueta will be more around here. So he's still got that ability to go forward, carry the ball forward, but then he's also got his defensive duties that he needs to fill as well. So I think that's the way he's going to set up. It should be easy enough. But we've seen in the last couple of weeks, Chelsea, with the lack of fullback that they have at the moment, it's really pulled us apart. And I'm not quite sure why either. I'm really not quite sure why. I've lost my mouse now. Where's my mouse gone? There we are. I've got something on my screen popping up telling me I need to do something. But let's move on. And we've got... So I don't know whether this is going to be a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-2-2-2. And the reason I say that is because I think it's more likely that Hudson-Odoi starts off the left-hand side with Mount and Hakim Ziyech off the right, and then defensive midfielders of Mateo Kovacic and Jorginho. But if I do recall correctly, a couple of weeks ago, Chelsea versus Tottenham, it might have been, I think it was Chelsea versus Tottenham. They played a similar way, and they ended up actually playing like a 4-2-2. And so that is what throws me off. I think SofaScore has got this one right. We'll wait and see until they set up. Wait and see how advanced Callum Hudson-Odoi is up this table. Hudson-Odoi yet to really get that lucky break that he maybe deserves and maybe needs in a Chelsea shirt. But he's not far away, is he? Stacey says she's looking forward to the game at 4:30. Me too. I'm looking forward to it. It should be good. It should be a good game, I must say. Should be a very, very good game. And so then it'll be, in my opinion, I think we're more likely to play a 4-2-3-1 with Mount through the middle, Ziyech off the right, Hudson-Odoi off the left, and Romelu Lukaku through the middle. So that's how I think the team will line up. That's how I think it'll line up. And so I think Romelu Lukaku, massive game for him today. Humongous game for Romelu Lukaku today. I think it's going to be important because he needs to bully these defenders. He needs to bully these Spurs centre-halves. Otherwise, they're just going to have an easy time. We saw it against Manchester City. It was such an easy time A really, really easy time for City. There was one moment really where he sort of broke through. He got away from Stones, but even then, it wasn't the greatest from Romelu Lukaku, and it's just not been good over the last couple of weeks. But just like Schrafter says, start Chalobah. He's a game changer. He really is. Is he on the subs bench today? He is on the subs bench today, and that match rating will tell you all you need to know in regards to Chelsea this season. Kante's got higher, and the average ones, he's got a higher average rating than Antonio Rudiger. Obviously, Malang Sarr's is very high, but that can be a little bit distorted. So I just think Chalobah is someone who's maybe not getting the credit he deserves. But the problem is, because we don't have that fullback, Malang Sarr is a left-footed player. He is a left-footed player, I do believe. Yeah, preferred foot left. So therefore, whilst he might not be the confidence, he might not give us the confidence that Chelsea need off that left-hand side, it automatically provides him as a better, more justifiable player to play in centre-half, because you're never going to drop Rudiger or Thiago Silva. These two are too good. You're not going to drop them. I'm starting to get annoyed with Tuchel. Talk to me, Schrafter. Why are you starting to get annoyed with Tuchel? Sorry, I'm just making sure that everything's okay for our guest in a moment. And we'll move on, and we can just check out Chelsea's subs bench. Of course, Marcos Alonso on the bench. We're still waiting for, as you can see here, the small injury list that we've got, but the small but vital injury list in terms of Ben Chilwell and Reece James. And I think that's been what has been exploited so far this season, is the fact that actually maybe we didn't realise how much Chelsea, they relied on their fullbacks. And well, it seems to be coming to fruition now, doesn't it? And then the bench for this afternoon for Chelsea is Trevor Chalobah, Marcos Alonso, N'Golo Kante, Saul, Ross Barkley, Kai Havertz, and Christian Pulisic. So just looking at the benches, we've not gone through Chelsea's starting team. Spurs' starting team yet, but look at the benches. Chelsea's bench here. You'd hope if Chelsea were down that they would be able to bring on a player who's going to do well for us. That's what we hope. But in all likelihood, who knows with the form we're going in. And like Schrafter says, we were brilliant at the start of the season. Now look at us. I still think it's an attitude thing. I think Chelsea had a bit of a bringing back down to earth sort of thing. And it was just very, very harsh the way that Chelsea fell from grace, if you will. And it's like Schrafter says, downed our team morale. It has done, but I think it's also been our own influence as well, which is the annoying thing. It really is the annoying thing. But anyway, we'll move on to Spurs. We've just got Hyro. He's just setting up his lighting and stuff. He's just had a few problems with the with StreamYard since he's been getting on. But I'll go through the Spurs team. Then we can have a chat about it. I'm sure he knows what happens, and that's a very good point actually from Schrafter. It's like what happened with Lampard. Lampard downed our team morale. I think with Lampard the difference was the boys wanted to back him, but he wasn't a good enough manager yet. Whereas Thomas Tuchel doesn't quite have the level of respect. Nearly bottled the UEFA Champions League qualification. Yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard because a team such as Chelsea, you make a couple of mistakes and you're out. And that is the problem. That's why I somewhat admire the fact that Manchester United stuck with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for as long as they did, because there was that there. There was the fact that actually they've backed him for a couple of years now. Yes, it didn't come to a nice end, and Ole was very upset about it, as I'm sure anyone would be. But I think you've got to give them respect for sticking with them and trying and hoping that their lads would do it for him. But unfortunately, didn't quite do it for him. But we'll move on and let's talk about the first 11 of Tottenham Hotspur. So as you can see, Tottenham, slightly younger side than Chelsea, which might come as a surprise to many, but Chelsea is starting to favour some of their more experienced players at the moment whilst they're going through this tough period of time. And without Ben Chilwell and Reece James, that obviously chucks more experienced heads in the middle of the team, because those two themselves, I believe Ben Chilwell's 24, Reece James is 22, so that would obviously bring down the age. But looking at this Arsenal side, God, everyone would hate me if I said that, wouldn't they? Looking at this Tottenham side, I think there could be an opportunity for a couple of different things to happen here. So I'll just walk you through it in a second. So we'll go through Tottenham, how they've lined them up, and let's discuss this back three, back five, and Sessegnon also can be a wing back, so we'll discuss it. So in goal is Hugo Lloris. The three at the back is Japhet Tanganga, Eric Dyer, Davinson Sanchez, and then you've got Ben Davies on the left, Doherty on the right, with Pierre-Emile Højbjerg and Harry Winks through the middle, and then Sessegnon off the left, Bergwijn off the right, and Harry Kane through the middle. And so what I think could potentially happen here is, the way that Spurs have been lining up at the moment is Ben Davies sitting in here, and I think that they're going to keep that, because I don't think Ben Davies has the pace. So what I then think will happen is Davinson Sanchez will come over and be the centre half, but Eric Dyer then might have this opportunity to step into midfield, and then everyone shifts over. Tanganga would go over there, and Ben Davies would slide in here, and then Sessegnon as the wing back, and then play, because last time out they did play a 3-5-2. So we'll wait and see. Again, completely up to interpretation, but I know a lot of Tottenham fans have been really impressed with the fact that Eric Dyer has sat here in centre half, and he's done a decent job. And a lot of people say, you need to give him some more credit. Maybe we do, but it's not happening at the moment, is it? It's not happening at the moment. Maybe we need to give him some credit. Big day for him if he is playing at that centre back role against Romelu Lukaku. Could cause all types of problems for us. And like I say, if you are new to the channel, guys, don't forget to smash that like button, and do hit subscribe as well if you are new to the Sam Redgate-Large channel. We're just waiting because we're having a guest joining us in a little while. He's just setting up his camera, and he's having a few teething problems, but hopefully he'll be joining us for a moment. The reason I was going to start at 4 was so that we could have a bit of a discussion, a bit of a debate. But now we've gone through all the stuff we usually do in that 15 minutes anyway. But let's have a look at the league table. Obviously, Heung-min Son out today, hence why Ryan Sessegnon is starting. But if you look at this league table, and this is where it's really, really important. Spurs, 19 games played, Chelsea 23 games played, and it doesn't take a genius to work out that if they win all 4 of their games, Spurs, obviously Chelsea would lose this one today, it would put Spurs right back in contention with them, and it would close that gap, because the gap at the moment is 8 points, and even just with 3 games in hand, that would take them over. And one of the games in hand, obviously, or one of the games they've got to play, is the one today. And that is massive for them. That is absolutely massive. That is absolutely massive for them. So anything could happen, anything can happen. 2 secs. Here we go. And I can just see that Hyro has just joined. And if you just give us a thumbs up, Hyro, if you are ready, I can stick you in, and I can add you to the stream, or that you can use the chat function whenever you are ready. And let's see what Strafter's saying. There's not a starting CDM. It's what happened to City in the UEFA Champions League final. Didn't start a CDM. If Pep started a CDM, Havertz would have probably not scored in the final. Agree. And that's why I think Eric Dyer might be the important thing here, because if you look, there's quite a few out-and-out defenders on this team here. So that's why I think Dyer might step in. Davinson Sanchez come across. Tanganga go to the right centre half. Ben Davies play where he has been playing as well. So we are a few minutes away. Hyro, are you ready to join us? I can see you at the bottom of the screen. Give us a thumbs up if you're ready, or if you can hear us. Looks like he's typing away. He's ready. Okay. Good stuff. We'll add Hyro into the chat. Let me stop sharing my screen now for us, guys. And let's welcome Hyro, the unfortunately, the Tottenham fan who is joining us for today. How are we doing, Hyro?
Hi, nice to be here, Sam. Obviously, I'm a big fan of yours. Looking forward to getting some revenge after the two cup cup defeats. So,
Yeah,
I have a feeling I know how it's going to go, but you never know.
yeah,
Chelsea's always one of those bogey teams for Spurs, I think.
Yeah.
And it's just, I guess, getting over that psychological trauma of playing you in general. So, yeah, let's see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And how are you feeling today? Obviously, we just had the two teams on the screen for today. It looks like a 3-4-3, whether it'll be more of a 3-5-2, like I said, with Eric Dyer stepping up. How confident are you feeling? Because it does look like a very defensive outfit for Spurs. Like I said, with Ryan Sessegnon being the furthest man up that left-hand side. Does that give you a few worries that maybe Spurs are going to sit up looking to defend, or...?
I'll be honest, Sam, I haven't actually looked at the teams. I've just been fiddling around trying to get set up. So I was just about to get on BBC News and have a quick look. But yeah, I've had Now TV in the background, just kind of streaming a little bit. But I think in terms of having a kind of defensive setup, I think it's probably good for us in terms of testing the water to start with. And then maybe seeing where sort of play changes the tactics from there. But I'm not too concerned about defensive, but it does put the thought in my mind that we're not really going out to win, more sort of going out to not lose. So I hope that's not the case and that we are going out to win, basically.
Yeah. And so just for anyone else who's joining as well, I'll just go a quick run through of the two teams. Again, obviously, we've started a couple of minutes earlier today. So we'll just do a run through the teams. Chelsea's team looks really strange. It looks like it's going to be a 4-2-2 or a 4-2-3-1. The way that they've set it up on SofaScores has absolutely blown my mind, so I don't really know what's going on. However, Chelsea, it is Kepa starting in goal, Azpilicueta off the right. Malang Sarr looks like he's going to be the left back for today, with Antonio Rudiger and Thiago Silva, of course, as the two centre-backs. Mateo Kovacic, Jorginho as defensive midfielders, Mount and Hakim Ziyech in front of them, Hudson-Odoi and Romelu Lukaku, for some reason, have been named as the two furthest forward. That's why I think it'll be a 4-2-3-1 with Hudson-Odoi further back. And then Spurs is a 3-4-3. Hugo Lloris starting in goal. Tanganga, Dyer, Davinson Sanchez, Davies, Højbjerg, Winks, Doherty, and then you've got Ryan Sessegnon, Harry Kane, and Steven Bergwijn. And we've mentioned the player Steven Bergwijn. Last time for Spurs that I watched them, obviously, it was that heroic final moments against Leicester City. Steven Bergwijn, a lot of discussion and conversation about Bergwijn potentially leaving Tottenham Hotspur this window, and there's been huge amounts of talk, and since that win the other night, the mood seems to have shifted. Obviously, Hyro, someone as yourself who's had a season ticket, have you felt that sort of shift? Is there a shift towards actually maybe we are looking to be set up a bit better, or is it still questions around Conte?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I've not been to too many games myself this season because of COVID and everything. But in terms of his heroics the other night, it does sort of leave the thought in your mind that maybe he has got something in him and he doesn't need to go. But again, I guess that's down to Conte and his plans in terms of where he wants him to play and if he's actually going to fit in that setup. So I'm quite happy to go with what Conte does. He seems to be changing the mood in general anyway. I do feel that, I think I did say to you the other day that I sort of turned off at like 91 minutes and stopped. I didn't actually know till the next morning that we'd won the game. So in terms of that classic Spurs not turning the game around when we're sort of from a losing position, I think he's kind of beginning to put that confidence that maybe we can sort of continue to push hard and maybe get that goal or two. So I think that's more of a manager thing than a player thing, but maybe he wants to stay. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, won't we? Especially with the injury to Heung-min Son at the moment. Bergwijn could be vital, and no Lucas Moura today. I'm not sure why Lucas Moura isn't playing today. I don't know if you know anything that I don't, but Lucas isn't featuring today. He's not in the starting 11, which I'd have thought a lot of people have been. I think there's been a lot of positive attitude towards Lucas Moura over the past few games, especially when Harry Kane, of course, hasn't scored as many goals as you would have expected. You briefly mentioned right at the beginning the fact that Spurs will be wanting revenge today. Do you reckon that's going to sit in their minds that actually they've just been beaten twice quite comfortably in the EFL Cup? Do you think that's going to sit there, and is that going to play an impact on this game? Do you reckon they're going to be up for it today, especially with it being a derby? You know, if they win today, it puts absolutely tons of pressure on Chelsea in the Champions League. Do you reckon they're going to be up, ready and firing?
I hope so. You never know. Sometimes, you know, like Battle of the Bridge, is it going to be like that? Probably not. I can't see them going out and being that fiery today. But I hope they're going out to win. I guess that's the main thing. But yeah, I think in terms of the 2 defeats, that would be playing on my mind if I was a player and thinking I'm going to go there to lose again. But again, we'll see how strong that, in terms of mentality, Conte is instilling that in the players. So hopefully that'll answer your question when they get out today and start playing a few minutes. I think the thing with Tottenham is we like to concede early in these big matches, and then that kind of signals our death straight away within the first 5 minutes. So again, I hope it's not going to be like the other night with Chelsea, where we conceded within the first sort of few minutes, and then that was kind of the end of the game.
And the worst part about that was, even as a Chelsea fan, I could see the frustrations of Tottenham, because it was very much Tottenham shooting themselves in their own foot. It wasn't that Chelsea had to do anything too difficult to beat you. There was Marcus Alonso won the ball up high, nicked it off whoever, and they went up the other end and scored. And it's like, Spurs, they're just shooting themselves in the foot. And it was almost, I think, at that moment of when Bergwijn scored, a lot of people went, oh, hello. They do know how to play football. They do know how to not be Spursy. And maybe that'll have given them some confidence that actually, you know, that it is just the fact of a mentality thing, and they're getting stuck in their own heads. But speaking about mentality, you can't speak about the mentality this season without speaking about Chelsea. What have you made from the other side of London to Chelsea's drop-off in form? Surely after Chelsea, as you can see over my shoulder, having won the Champions League, surely that you must be pretty pleased that actually there has been this drop-off in form.
If I said I wasn't pleased, I'd be lying. But I guess I don't go out to wish terrible on the other teams. I want my team to play better than the other. So yeah, if you're having a kind of drop off, that's fine. I guess most teams have a bit of a lull in the season somewhere, whether it's for 5 or 6, 10 games. I just hope that we can go out and beat you today. I think that's the main thing. And you know, however you play in the season, you know, that's down to Chelsea. I think Spurs just need to concentrate on ourselves and get ourselves into those Champions League spots, which we've fallen out of a little bit over the last couple of years. And I'm hoping that because we're out of the Europa Conference, that it'll give us a bit more time to sort of concentrate on these more important games. We've got a few games in hand as well, but whilst that looks good, it's kind of going to cramp our schedule a bit. So hopefully we can turn those games around and get those points.
Yeah, especially towards the back end of the season. You don't want more games, especially if Spurs are still hoping to fight for like the FA Cup. Obviously, they can't fight on 4 fronts like Chelsea and Liverpool are still doing, or attempting to at least in the Premier League. But we are a few minutes away from the kickoff for this game. We are a few minutes away. It is at Stamford Bridge. Get in the chat, guys. Let us know your score predictions. If you've got any questions for Hyro about Spurs in particular, I know Max, you're a massive Spurs fan, so why not as well? And get your score predictions in, like I say. Hyro, I'm going to come to yours in a second, but I'm just going to ask you for your one player to watch in this game from Spurs. Who do you think is going to be the man who stands out for Spurs today, if there is a player who stands out for Spurs, of course?
I think it might be Lloris saving a lot of shots. Either that, or I think Kane might actually have a good game. I think that he kind of tries to step up in these games, and although he might not score a lot in a lot of them, he does create chances, which I think are probably going to be important for us. So I think maybe he's going to be trying to create a few more chances and score on a few more goals. But I guess again, we'll see.
Yeah, it looks absolutely vital to Spurs at the moment. And over the last couple of games as well, we've started to see him actually creating those chances. He got the assist for Bergwijn in that 3-2 majestic win. which I will give you that. It was a majestic win in that 3-2. He also scored in that, and he did start to threaten as well in the EFL Cup final. I'll just say, from a Chelsea's perspective, I'm not going to talk about Kepa because I think Kepa's always getting the person. It's like, oh, it's a big day for Kepa. It's always a big day for Kepa when you make as many mistakes as him. But I think the big important thing will be that left-hand side, that battle between Malang Sarr and Steven Bergwijn. I think that'll be massively important, especially with a bit of momentum behind Steven Bergwijn himself. The players are out on the pitch. We're going to be getting underway in a few moments. So, Hyro, what is your score prediction for today's game? Are you going to back your boys, or are you going to go, actually, I think the Chelsea Blue are going to take it home today?
I think it's going to be, it'll either be 1-1, or that's what I think it'll come out as. But really, in fantasy land, I'd like it to be 2-1 Spurs.
You'd like it to be 2-1 Spurs. And I can see that Sean has gone with 3-0 to Chelsea. So Sean's backing Chelsea all the way. And Max is just singing my name, of course. I mean, why wouldn't you? And then Max has also gone with 2-1 Chelsea. And then Max, that wasn't very, or was that? He's then put Kane and Bergwijn, so I don't know. We're about to get underway. I'm hoping me and Hyro are about the same time on the stream. I don't know if you've already kicked off or not, but
yeah, we've kicked off already.
Okay, I'm literally just about to get underway, so I can't be too far behind you. And Stacey says would say Kane win and 2-0 as well. So I'm going to be confident. I'm going to try and at least be confident and go with a 3-1 to Chelsea. That's what I'm going with. I think Chelsea will be fired up for it today. I think they'll be really, really fired up. And I think they really have got to just sort of kick on now. They can't drop any more points. I keep saying it, but they can't because they're just shooting themselves in the foot. It's like, oh yeah, should we go for the league title? Well, we're not quite fighting for the league title now. Yeah, should we go for top 4? And all of a sudden now we're in this top 4 debate and we're in this race. And it's like, oh gosh, we shouldn't be in there. It's gone from title contenders to absolutely nothing. An early effort there for Romelu Lukaku. Good work by Mason Mount down that right flank early on. Let me get Stacey's comment off the screen. Where's my mouse gone? It's disappeared yet again. When you're talking about players standing out for Spurs, I said Kane and Bergwijn. That makes sense, Max. That makes sense. I think we're pretty much in agreement there with Kane and Bergwijn. What have you made to the fact that Kane hasn't quite had the same number of goal contributions this season as he did last? I know it was hard, obviously, for Harry Kane to maintain that level, but it has been quite a significant drop-off.
Yeah, he's hardly scored. So that's a significant drop-off is a bit of an understatement, but I guess he did have the whole Man City saga during the summer, and I guess you don't know how that's potentially affected him. Does he still want to leave? Maybe. I guess nobody knows. But I do think that kind of probably affected him quite a bit. In terms of the team themselves, we've had a new manager. You would think that he'd have new manager syndrome. He'd kind of be out there showcasing his skills, but he's not really been doing that. He's kind of just been holding the ball up more than anything. So I don't know. Has he potentially got a little injury or something? I don't know. He just hasn't been the same player since the World Cup.
Yeah, it seems to be a little bit of a drop off, and it's a weird one for Harry Kane because I don't think we've ever seen it before from Kane. We're so used to seeing him bag 15, 18 goals, 20, 30 goals a season, and it seems like a weird one for Harry Kane because of that, and he's been that consistent. It was like when Eden Hazard, when he had that 4-goal a season, and everyone went, "Where did that come from?" But it might be the fact that he is genuinely a little bit still annoyed about the Manchester City transfer. And I don't know if you've seen Ben Foster. He has his own little sort of podcast thing. And Harry Kane trying to slide in Steven Bergwijn there, read though by Rudiger. He has his little podcast and he was talking about how these transfers go on. And he said that Harry Kane will have been made promises. And when you take it like that, he will have been, Levy or whatever you want to call him, if he's made promises to Harry Kane that actually they'll sell him and they've tried to keep bumping up the price, you can understand why Harry Kane is infuriated, and maybe it's taken him a little while to settle this season, can't you? Lukaku into Mount. Lovely turn by Mount. Mount, I think he's gonna have to be the bright spark today. He was absolutely fuming. That's a great ball in there from Ziyech, looking for Hudson-Odoi at the back post. Just headed wide from Callum Hudson-Odoi. Just made a Thomas Tuchel rant, says Shrafter. Nice. Already, you've got to wait until the end of the game before you start ranting about Thomas Tuchel. You've got to wait till the end of the game. Mason Mount, I think, is going to have to be on it today. He was absolutely fuming that he got dropped from Man City, the Man City game. Rightfully so, if I'm honest with you. Rightfully so. But the game he came back, was it Brighton? I think the last game Chelsea played. He didn't really do anything. And so it was a contrast of actually he dropped you, but then you ended up putting in a bit of a stinky performance anyway. So who knows what will happen in this game. What do you think to Mason Mount? Are you an admirer from afar, or are you just think he's maybe an overhyped English lad?
We'll tell in a couple of years where he is, if he's playing in Championship or not. I guess a lot of players are hyped up nowadays, and they've got a lot of pressure on them, and quite a few never really reach that level that they've of the expectations. So yeah, he's a good player, but I think we'll see if he's consistent over 2 or 3 more seasons. I mean, looking at the game now, it's just all Chelsea. And I think we're just trying to absorb the pressure at the beginning of the game and trying not to concede.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've not had any chances, and you're just continually targeting that back post. So
yeah, it does look like Chelsea are going to look to cross it. They kept doing that, though, in the game against City, and they took Lukaku off. And I was like, why? Oh, no, the game against Brighton, and Brighton have all of their players who are like at least 6 foot tall. And I was like, why are we still trying to attack this? Why are we still making that our priority to cross the ball in? But it depends on how, Spurs can deal with this today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just swap seats, and I'm going to go sit in front of me green screen. So I'll be back in 2 seconds, Hyro. If you just want to, if there's anything on your mind you want to talk about, if not, I'll just going to drop myself out and drop back in again once I've got myself set up. So I'll be back in 2 secs. Right, now if I do this, there we are, sorted. Green screen looks a little bit bad, but oh well.
how far are you behind in this stream, Sam? I mean,
I'm on 6 minutes 17.
You're just about to have another corner.
Yeah, I'm just about to have a corner in mind. What minute are you on?
I can't actually see for some reason on this. 6 minutes 45.
Okay, so I am 15 seconds behind. That's not too bad. Mount's about to whip in a corner. Flicked on. Oh, goes into the hands of Lloris. It really frustrates me because a lot of Chelsea's corners at the moment don't tend to beat the front man at the front post. And it's like you get paid this big amount of money to be a professional footballer and you can't cross the ball past the front post. And it's so infuriating, absolutely infuriating. Max has put, it came out that Kane is super happy under Conte, but under Nuno, he's put, or no Spirito Santo, he wasn't. I mean, it's a statement of intent by Spurs, isn't it? That the fact that you have gone out your way and got Antonio Conte, a manager that has been so heavily praised over the last few seasons, it is a statement of intent and where Spurs are looking to go. Where do you see them sort of finishing when he's had his, first full season or so? Obviously, it's not quite a full season this season, so we'll let him have this one to sort of make up the ground where Nuno Espirito Santo maybe caused a few issues, but where can you see Spurs finishing in the long run? Can you see them moving on further, or do you reckon they'll just be a top 4 side? Can you see them challenging for titles in a couple of years to come?
Potentially. I guess it depends if he gets his funding. I think in terms of Tottenham, we've been quite stingy with transfer fees over the last kind of 5 years. And though we have had, a good amount from selling players, it's not been invested the best. So yeah, I guess if we get the players that we need, I can see us probably challenging for the title, but I don't think we're at Man City level yet. I think in terms of getting above Man City, that would be quite a task. Maybe a 3-year kind of job, but I think is he even going to be here for longer than 2 years? I don't know. He signed a very short contract, so it would seem a bit strange for him to leave after 18 months, but I guess you never know in football. Maybe an offer comes along you can't refuse.
Yeah, who knows? And the thing is with Conte as well, he's not really spent long at many of the clubs. Inter Milan, he spent a single season. Chelsea, he spent a season and a half, then irritated Roman Abramovich, who ended up giving him the boot because obviously the whole Diego Costa scenario. So that was also that, has to be sort of looked at as well. And Spurs, is there a long-term future there? You can run your risks bringing in Antonio Conte to some degree. But Max says he won't be here from 2 years from now. So Max isn't very optimistic. But you just don't know. You don't know with Premier League football at the moment. You could find yourself with a lovely vein of form and some of these players playing at their max like Leicester City did a few seasons ago. And all of a sudden you go from being a bang average side to a side that's actually competing and doing well. I'm not saying that Spurs are a bang average side by any stretch of the imagination, but there is plenty of potential in this Spurs side. Winks goes to take a short free kick there and is intercepted by Chelsea. Romelu Lukaku, last time out, struggled for touches when he played against Brighton, which was quite surprising considering it is Brighton. You expect that Chelsea would have a few more touches, or especially Romelu Lukaku. So it's an important game for him today to re-find a bit of that confidence, and he's been hitting the headlines, hasn't he, at the moment, Romelu Lukaku, or he has over the last few weeks before Christmas, for all the wrong reasons rather than all the right reasons, not for his goal scoring, but for what he's been saying off the pitch. And I think that's what has, helped with Chelsea's problems this year, is the fact that Romelu Lukaku has, to some degree, spat his dummy out. And that is the best way to say it. He has spat his dummy out. Here is Hudson-Odoi with a little bit of space. Rolls it out wide. Azpilicueta. Ziyech off this right-hand side. He scored the goal against Brighton in midweek, and that was the only goal shot on target. So we've registered in 2 games. That will tell you all you need to know about Chelsea and how that they are playing at the moment. And Chelsea do give away a foul there. Japhet Tanganga. It's interesting to see the graphic that I saw earlier. It put Spurs down as a 3-5-2 with Tanganga in midfield. But looking at the way they were set up from that, from the rebounded shot of Hakim Ziyech, it did look like that Tanganga was at centre half rather than centre mid. So we're going to have to wait and see, I think, with this Spurs side, how they actually set up. And it might be a bit fluid in transition, moving the ball forward and moving the how players step up and move around in midfield as well. 10 minutes just gone. Ladies and gents, if you haven't already, get that score prediction in for us. We're only 10 minutes in. Still plenty of time to bag yourself a good score prediction. Not a lot has happened here. Not any real clear-cut chances at the minute. Only thing to really say is the fact that Chelsea, you would say at the moment, are having the most of the possession and they are dictating play at the moment. But Spurs, they need to react. They need to react fast and not make mistakes as well, because that has been definitely the downfall of Tottenham Hotspur over the last sort of couple of months, over the last couple of weeks. Harry Kane lifts one over. Azpilicueta able to header that one clear. Looking for Romelu Lukaku. It might fall to Hakim Ziyech there. Falls instead to Ben Davies. Ben Davies is going to drive into a little bit of space here, but that's really good defensive play actually by Hakim Ziyech. Credit where credit's due. Højbjerg steps into some space, easily read though by Mateo Kovacic. Looking at this Spurs side, Jairo, so where would you go if you were Antonio Conte? Where would you make the changes to decipher between, what is really, really important, what is a small thing to change? Where would you make your first change if you were going to buy someone in the January transfer window, for example?
I think we need a very technical striker. Kane is good, but as you can see, he has these lulls in performance where he often plays quite badly. Today, I can't see him, for instance, doing, I said at the beginning of the stream that possibly he might be a player to watch, but he's getting dispossessed quite easily at the minute.
Yeah.
Not having his best game. I think we need, sort of Lucas is, again, a good player occasionally. I wouldn't say he's a starting player all the time. So I think we need a very good technical striker who can, well, I guess not just support Kane, but can, be there instead of Kane. I think we hemorrhage goals quite a bit too much as well. Defense needs shoring up a bit. I think we need players in every position, if I'm honest. I'm not particularly confident with a lot of the players we've got at the minute, that they're sort of fit for purpose for long time use. So yeah, I'd say we need reinforcing in every area if we want to compete in more than one competition, because we are playing often with fringe players who don't perform their best. Ali, for instance, is just, again, one of those players that had a lot of hype around him. And I wouldn't ever say that he was ever the best player. He had his moments. But again, we need a creative midfielder who's very technical. And I guess we've not had one of those since Modric left. He was kind of irreplaceable, and losing him, Carrick as well along the years. Any kind of really technical midfielder we've ever had has just been sold as soon as they've become any good. So I think we need reinforcing everywhere. I think we're a fairly weak team at the minute.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Spurs they're good, but there's the level, isn't there? You look at Man City and where Man City are taking their team and buying 50 million on backup fullbacks and stuff like that. And it makes it hard to compete for someone such as a Tottenham or someone such as a Liverpool who is self-sufficient, because you can't spend 50 million and this be a backup fullback or a backup whatever. So it does make it difficult. And that is the level, ultimately, that's the level Spurs think they should be at, and that's where they want to be at. Absolutely. So there's always been a lot of noise from Spurs, from the white side of London. But in terms of trophy-wise, it's always been the red side and the blue side that have really been making most of the noise, and Spurs will want to turn that one around sooner rather than later, because it'll be annoying them that Chelsea are now 2 Champions Leagues ahead, and even if they win a Champions League, they're never going to win the what colour is London debate. It's always going to be that Chelsea is blue. We've got Shah in the chat as well. Afternoon, Shah. How are we doing, mate? How are we doing? And also Chewy Suarez has joined us as well into the chat. And Schrafter says, I would rather the Bolton manager over Thomas Tuchel. Wow. I'm not so sure on that one. I'm not so sure on that. Chelsea have a corner here. 16 minutes on the clock. I did just see a stat that popped up that said Chelsea have already had 6 attempts on goal, which I guess is a positive from a Chelsea perspective, considering how poor we were in that first half against Manchester City and how fewer shots on target we registered in the 2 games between them and Brighton. It's whipped in by Mount. It can't beat the front post again, though, and Bergwijn might be able to set Tottenham away on a counter-attack. He's being marked here by Callum Hudson-Odoi, and Bergwijn's managed to go past Hudson-Odoi as if he's not there, but Kovacic, really, really good defensive play to get over and win the ball nicely. He's done really well there, actually, Mateo Kovacic. Fair play. Ooh. Kane. Oh, he's dispossessed there by Ziyech, and Ziyech looks forward there for Romelu Lukaku. Davinson Sanchez did well there. Is there a lack of defensive opportunity for, or defensive options, should I say, at Spurs? Because you brought in Christian Romero for big money last summer you brought him in for? And it was 40-something mil from Atlanta. And he's got injured. Is that a worry that actually, when you have spent the big money, that you've ended up having these players get injured, or someone like a Bergwijn who's not really, for the most part, shown his quality? Is that a worry for Spurs? Obviously, Chelsea have had that problem massively, haven't we? But you don't really tend to get it elsewhere other than Chelsea. That might just be me sort of just thinking, oh, the whole world's falling down around Chelsea. But is that a concern, especially defensively, when you've got like a more aging defence?
Yeah, I felt that when we had the Vertonghen sort of led defence over the last kind of 10 years, I don't know, I felt comfortable under sort of Vertonghen's watch. But lately, I don't know, I feel that we can leak goals just randomly. So yeah, I feel we're not quite there yet in the defence, and that's something Conte needs to really sort out. I'm just not confident in terms of when an attack is coming that we can actually defend it. And again, in terms of when Pochettino was managing, if we were defending, we were playing quite a high line. We kind of attacked straight away. We seem to be playing quite deep at the minute. In terms of under Conte, we don't play with that kind of high line of defence anymore. So I think it's difficult for us to get the ball up the field, especially when we've got a very slow striker like Kane, who we're relying on. I guess that's why he's feeding a lot of the sort of. Sorry, you're a little bit behind, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I do feel that we need defender. Yeah. Like I said, I think we need a player in every position. I'm not confident with defence or the attack at the minute.
Yeah, we're just watching on the screen there, guys. There was a VAR for Matt Doherty for serious foul play on Malang Sarr. I think that would have been really harsh if anything had come from that, because I think it is just Doherty tries to put his foot in the way, doesn't he? And he just accidentally sort of stands on Malang Sarr. It was more accidental than actually foul play, but they're gobbing off at each other now that they've come back on, and that'll be interesting to watch if we're going to have another Battle of the Bridge v2, and me and Hyro are going to end up fighting by the end of it. Chewy said, who is the Tottenham fan? It is Hyro. This is Hyro. I work with Hyro, so he's a friend from work, as Thor once said. But yes, he's the Tottenham guru for today. Mateo Kovacic with a bit of space here. He's going to roll it into Jorginho. Jorginho finds Mason Mount. Flip round the corner there to Azpilicueta. Here is Hakim Ziyech. Ziyech goes to Azpilicueta again. Good overlapping run there. He's whipping it in towards that back post again. Hyro, you highlighted that earlier. It looks like that's what Chelsea are going to go for. Cross a ball across the box. Try catch Spurs out at the back post. And it will be another Chelsea corner. 20 minutes on the clock. We will have a few minutes of added time at the end because, like I say, that VAR decision. Shah's just said, why didn't I get a notification come up when you're streaming? I don't know, actually, Shah. I don't know. I got one on my other account, so maybe it's just YouTube having a mare. Rudiger headers that one back across. It's cleared, though, by Steven Bergwijn. Goes to Ziyech. Whipped in at that front post. Is that going to fall in? No, it's not. It drops out again. What was the little smirk for there, Hyro?
You'll see in a minute.
Oh, was it the push into the was it the push into the board at the side?
Yeah.
From Mason Mount on. Is that Tanganga?
Yeah, it was. I think this could well be a Battle of the Bridge coming up.
It's starting. It's got a bit of taste to it, hasn't it?
It's getting a little bit dirty, yeah.
And there's always going to be problems as well when you've got Rudiger and Eric Dyer on a pitch. When you've got those two on a pitch, anything can happen. I tell you what. And
I think that's one of Dyer's kind of downfalls is that he'll play really good in the game, then he'll get himself booked for something really stupid.
Yeah,
he just can't help himself, and I think Ali was another one of those players as well that just loves to dive in.
Yeah,
they're a bit of a liability sometimes, and again, I guess that's why I don't have much confidence in some of the players that we've got at the minute.
Yeah, that's the difficulty as well, because I don't think Eric Dyer knows where that line is. He does sometimes he'll be fired up for something, but he just doesn't know when. He doesn't seem to know when to stop. Whereas Rudiger, I don't think I've ever really seen him get sent off for something aggressive. Whereas Eric Dyer, it seems to be at least twice a season he gets sent off for doing something stupid, whether it's chasing a fan up the blooming stadium or if it's whatever it may be. But it definitely has a bit of taste in this game. That's all I can say. There's a few sort of hefty tackles being left in. And the win probability, Spurs down at 27%, Chelsea at 42%. So that's based off the first sort of 23, 24 minutes. They reckon Chelsea will win this. But Spurs have got, at the moment, they're standing strong. But I don't know whether that's Chelsea not really taking the opportunities and the final ball not really being there, rather than credit to Spurs. That's whipped in by Ziyech, though, headed clear by Eric Dyer. Clipped clear, and here goes Tottenham potentially. Steven Bergwijn, and Thiago Silva does bring down Steven Bergwijn, and that will be the first yellow card of the game as well, I do believe. So Thiago Silva goes into the book. Hopefully we don't have a repeat of him against West Brom last season. He had an absolute mare in both games against West Bromwich Albion last season, so hopefully we don't have that. Strafter says, fun fact, Stamford Bridge was named after the place in the Battle of Hastings. Is that the real reason? I don't know if you're having me on. I don't know if people have me on anymore. I literally have no clue if you're having me on there. But if that is, that's a cool fact. It used to have a, back in the day, didn't it used to have a dog racing course? Is it a dog race? What do you call it? Greyhound racing course around it until they expanded into what we now see as Stamford Bridge. I do believe that used to be what Chelsea did have at Stamford Bridge. Here's Davinson Sanchez. Going to try play the ball out from the back. Doherty.
That's true, Sam. Stamford Bridge is called that because of...
Oh, wow. Who knew? I mean, I guess we can trust Shafter. Maybe we can. For once, someone's not trying to have me on. For once, someone is not trying to have me on. Brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff. I just got a notification on my phone to tell me Eden Hazard had been subbed off. I was like, what? And then I realized he was playing for Real Madrid.
Easily forgotten.
Especially considering he hasn't done anything for Real Madrid since he's been there. Aspilicueta with a throw in deep inside the Tottenham half. Here's Rudiger. Into Thiago Silva. Chelsea just going to have to take their time here, just sort of test and see where the gaps will appear for them to break down with Tottenham Hotspur. I'm really confused at this formation. I've not seen Ryan Sessegnon in this game at all. Am I dreaming this? Like, he definitely was in the starting 11. I'm just going to double check because I feel like Ryan Sessegnon's just disappeared in this game so far.
He's in the game. He's just obviously not doing a lot. So
I've literally not seen him on the ball. I'm actually just going to double check just because I'm actually intrigued to whether actually if he is playing Tottenham. He is, yeah, he is playing, apparently. But SofaScore has gone with a 4-4-2 for Tottenham, with Sessegnon as a left midfielder. But I think it's more of a 3 at the back. But I have no clue where Doherty's playing. Like, he's stood, at the minute on my screen, he stood next to Kovacic, which would give me the idea that he's maybe as a central midfielder today. Is that something that Doherty could do? I haven't seen enough of him to play to know whether he can play as a centre midfielder.
I don't think so. I'm just feeling fortunate that we've not conceded yet. I mean, we've got to the 27th minute. I think the first 10 minutes are always dangerous for us. We're just in lullaby land usually in the first sort of 5-10 minutes. And it's normally sort of 40 minutes plus is, again, another sort of dangerous area when we tend to concede a goal. So I'm just hoping we don't relax off too much because I can see Chelsea scoring, actually.
Yeah.
All Chelsea.
I can see themselves getting a goal, to be honest with you. But I don't want to jinx it. That's my problem. I don't want to get too confident and be like, oh, we're absolutely bossing it, especially considering how quickly things can change in the football. And they're just in the chat discussing that Real Madrid are 2-0 down, which I didn't clock when I got that notification about Eden Hazard. Real Madrid are 2-0 down to Elche. So maybe the dream isn't alive for, I believe it's Sevilla who are sat in second place in La Liga at the moment. So at least they've got a title race on in that league. It doesn't look like we've got a title race on in this league. Do you reckon Liverpool can catch City, or is the league done and dusted for you now?
I feel it's Man City's to lose, and I can't see them losing it, to be honest. I can't see them losing that many games and losing that many points. But again, you never know.
Yeah, it seems very unlike City. Very unlike City. And the thing is, I think the big turning point, like if Chelsea had got taken any points from that game, I think Liverpool would have had a chance, and I think Liverpool fans should have been rooting for Chelsea to win that game, or at least take a point from Liverpool versus from City Chelsea. But because of it, I think Chelsea have just not only shot themselves in the foot, they've shot Liverpool in the foot as well at the same time, and then just gone, there you are, City, have an extra couple of points ahead. But they did drop points yesterday, which does make a change. It does make a change against Southampton. Tino Livramento as well, of Chelsea. It was Armando Broja, sorry, the Chelsea loanee. He did actually have the ball in the back of the net, but ruled out for offside. So, as well as Chelsea being inevitable, so is Manchester City winning absolutely everything in Premier League. So, who knows where we'll go from here. Nearly 30 minutes on the clock, guys. If you are in the chat, get in the chat. Let us know if you've got any questions for Hyro, if you've got Tottenham questions, if you've got what it's like to be a season ticket holder. Obviously, I can't answer that one.
It's disappointing a lot of the time, I'll say.
How painful is it to be a season ticket holder?
I think the first game I ever went to watch, we lost the cup final. So yeah, it's been sort of embedded into me, being conditioned to be okay with losing. Yeah, so it doesn't bother me too much. I'm just glad that we're not one of those teams that get relegated often. I mean, I've got a friend that's a Sunderland supporter, and he's been through some terrible times.
Yeah, especially over the past few.
But yeah, so no, I'm just glad that we're sticking around in the top. I don't know why they call it a top 7 now, don't they? Yeah, it should really just be a top 3, I think. But I think getting into the top 3 is probably a good objective for us right now.
Yeah, that's what you've got to look at. And Spurs can just, at the moment, they've just got to look one game at a time. Obviously, we mentioned earlier, and you spoke about it earlier, the games that you do have in hand. But all you can really do is just sit and look at each game taken one by one, because they're not guaranteed wins. Yes, you can look at it and go, oh, actually, this, if you win today, it put you in a fantastic position. But Chelsea do still have the points on the board. And the debate a lot of the time is, would you prefer to have the games in hand or the points on the board? And I think a lot of people actually go, we prefer to have the points on the board rather than a game in hand sort of thing. But I guess it does fall into your own hands now. And so how successful you be this season is completely down to Spurs, isn't it? Because you do have that extra advantage. Mount going down this right-hand side into Azpilicueta, pulled it back into Mount. Lukaku! Oh, my God, he's missed it. Hudson-Odoi inside the box. Is he going to get a shot off himself? I can't believe Lukaku's missed that there. Kovacic goes to Azpilicueta. Oh, my God, Romelu Lukaku. He's just not the same player, is he?
No, not since that interview.
Oh my gosh!
He's just spooned it, hasn't he? So he doesn't seem too bothered, does he?
No. That was awful. I think the thing as well to notice about Chelsea is, like you said there, he doesn't seem too bothered. Like I'm just watching the replay. He doesn't even put his hands to his head to be like, oh my God, or look in frustration. He's just like. He sees Hudson-Odoi with the ball and he's like, yeah, all right, pass it back to me. As if, why would Hudson-Odoi pass it back to him in that situation? But, Hudson-Odoi looking to bend one there, but Lukaku decides to sit down rather than get his body in the way of that one. Weird decision there from Romelu. But I think the thing, if you look at Chelsea as well, they had that. An afternoon to Oliver as well, who's just got in the chat as well. Afternoon, Oliver. How are we doing? Chelsea, when they scored, Ziyech scored against Brighton last week. None of the Chelsea players actually celebrated. Ziyech scored, and they all just walked back to the halfway line. Is that a sign for you that, Hyro, is that a sign for you that maybe the dressing room at Chelsea is starting to take a turn?
Again, it's hard to know, isn't it? But I think that if you have a player that causes a stir like that, then it's going to ruffle a few people. And I think even people that have maybe been a bit quiet in the dressing room are going to start to say their piece. So I guess you never know. But I think that interview that Lukaku did wasn't the most favourable thing. Well, it's going to put in the most favourable position, is it? It's just really not going to help his standing in there either. So is he getting some preferential treatment still playing? Possibly. But I think most managers would have probably put him on the sideline for a bit.
Yeah, teach him that you can't say those kind of things at our football club. Aspilicueta tried to get him behind there, won Chelsea a corner ball. We've got about 35 minutes on the clock, guys. If you are new to the Sam Redgate-Large channel, do be sure to smash that like button and hit subscribe. It's completely free, and if you get fed up with me, you can always unsubscribe. Unfortunately for Hyro, he can't just unsubscribe from me because he still has to deal with me at work as well. So, unfortunately, but that's what you've got to deal with. In comes the corner from Mason Mount, and it's headed clear again at the front post. Mason Mount's corners have not been great so far. Hudson-Odoi is going to look to clip one back in. It's headed that time by Højbjerg and cleared again. Chat's a little bit quiet tonight, guys. Is anyone going to get in and have some good debate and good discussion for us about the topics going on? Harry winks, who we spent the whole time winking about the other night. The chat really enjoyed that. That was a good game of how many times can Sam say Harry winks and remember to wink. Oh, God. Thoughts on Liverpool's pen? I don't think I've seen it, Fraser. I've not seen it so far. Have you seen Liverpool's penalty, Hyro?
I haven't, no.
Let me have a look. Maybe we can find it on Twitter at halftime or something and have a gander, and then we can discuss that at halftime, Fraser, because I know I know Oliver's mentioned it already, and Oliver's a Crystal Palace fan. So there is definitely some debate by the looks of things to be had around that penalty for Liverpool, which Fabinho ended up sealing off the game for. Ben Davies clips one long there, looking for Sessegnon, but a poor ball finds its way out for a Chelsea throw-in because Jota just ran into the goalkeeper. Oh, well, at least Jota got me some points for a penalty in FPL. I'll take it. Sarr finds Hudson-Odoi here, trying to go past Tanganga. That's definitely a foul for me. And Tanganga finds himself in the book. Yellow card for Tanganga for a foul on Hudson-Odoi. 36 minutes on the clock. Still Chelsea 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0. No real clear-cut opportunities other than Romelu Lukaku missing a big opportunity where he just completely missed the ball himself. Spurs yet to really create anything that's going to cause too many problems. But Chelsea on top in terms of possession and look on top in terms of the game. But I think the longer this game plays out, the longer it helps Spurs get into this game because, as we saw, Spurs know how to score in the final few moments of the game. Ziyech looks to go beyond Ben Davies there, but he's just dribbled the ball straight out of play. Fraser says he doesn't think it was a pen. So if a Liverpool fan doesn't think it was a pen, then you're definitely big questions around your football club, I must say. Ben Davies throws it in, looking for Højbjerg there, who's managed to slip in. Ryan Sessegnon. Sessegnon, is he going to get his shot off? And that's an awful shot, a god-awful shot there from Ryan Sessegnon. I mean, he's only a young man, but that was awful from Ryan Sessegnon. It was good play, to be fair, by Højbjerg. Don't think he was offside at all here, Sessegnon. And for a man who scored, 18 goals that season before he moved to Spurs in the Championship, you'd have expected him to have his shooting boots on. But I think he went out for a throw-in there from Ryan Sessegnon. So, not the best of finishes. Not the best of finishes.
I did just have a look at the penalty, and I can't see how it was a penalty.
Oh God, I'm gonna have a look now myself. Then
He just kind of fell over. It was.
let's have a look.
I don't think that was a penalty, but I'm not an expert.
Here's Doherty. Finds Kane. Kane looks for Bergwijn on the edge of the box. Bergwijn tries to move away there from Mason Mount, but Mount's got his body in the way, and Chelsea might be able to counter-attack, and Rudiger's going to lead this counter-attack here. Ziyech as well, who's on the ball, rolls it into Rudiger, who's in the right wing position, rolls it into Lukaku, and Lukaku's just tried to get the ball in, and it's deemed to have gone out for a goal kick as well. Let's have a look. Liverpool penalty. Let's see if I can find one. How is that a penalty? That's brilliant. Oh, yeah, that's definitely not a penalty. 100%. It like the ball just sort of goes one way, and he like forgot that he was chasing the ball, didn't he? He just sort of went, "Oh, there's the keeper. Let me run into him."
Oh my God! You know what? I think when you see what's about to happen, that I think we're
Bergwijn
just unlucky.
finds Sessegnon. Sessegnon into Kane. Kane! Kane! Oh, no! Oh, no! Oh, what? Yes! It did. What? What a roller coaster of emotions! Oh my God! What's he giving it for? The foul on Rudiger.
But what foul?
The way that Rudiger went down on the floor. I don't know. That's what I'm.
But there's players falling down all over the place.
What is going on? Bergwijn goes down.
Very.
It's Thiago Silva. I thought he was going to give it for.
Where's the VAR?
I don't know. I'm really confused.
I've been really confused about the refereeing in general this season. It's just so inconsistent.
I mean, Harry Kane scores it, but it has to be clear and obvious, right? For them to.
Did he push him?
Yeah, it has to be a clear and obvious error that he's missed, that Kane hasn't pushed Thiago Silva over. So I don't think this is going to stand, because it's quite evident that he's got his hand on him. And it's whether it's then deemed that that is enough for Thiago Silva to go down in the penalty box. But Silva's nowhere near the ball.
I'm just looking at another replay. I think he was going down already.
Let's have a watch.
I think Kane maybe helped him a little bit, but
yeah, he sees him coming, doesn't he, Harry Kane? And that's maybe, if they're going to rule it out, it might be because that he does know what he's doing, Kane.
I think Silva.
But I don't think that's enough on Thiago Silva to be a foul.
I think he's played for it, to be honest. It's just clever defending. He's felt Kane touch him and he's gone down.
Yeah, Jorginho's got in the book as well. I think that's for dissent there. But it is still Chelsea 0, Tottenham 0. And I definitely think that's Chelsea got away with one. We were just speaking about Jota getting a lucky penalty. On the other hand, a VAR decision that's gone probably the wrong way there for Tottenham Hotspur. Well, definitely the wrong way there. Fraser, just to explain to you, Sessegnon whipped the ball in, and Thiago Silva was running in with Harry Kane. Thiago Silva, obviously aware that the ball had gone behind him, had received, yes, there is a push on him. It's a very light push, but had received a push on him. And he has then just fallen over in the box, and the referees deemed that to have been a foul on Thiago Silva, Harry Kane's goal, which did ripple the back of the net, and Kepa probably should have done better with, has been deemed to have been a foul, and so has been ruled out. And I think it's slightly heating up here. Max is saying that nothing wrong with that. What we've been robbed, completely robbed, says Max, and he is a Spurs fan. So are you feeling the same way there, Hyro?
I'm not feeling totally robbed. I'm feeling that the decision's gone against us, yeah, but I think Kane's had quite a few of these decisions go against him recently,
Yeah.
for some reason, which I don't, no, yeah, we have been robbed actually. Now I'm thinking about it, we should be 1-0 up. Definitely.
It's a good job that no one asks you to do like a police report on an event. No, I haven't been robbed. Oh, well, now that you come to think about it.
I could completely stripped. Yeah, no, I am disappointed with that. But yeah, he did push him. I mean, Kane should know that, to be honest. He shouldn't put his hand on him in that position.
You ask the question, don't you? As soon as you put your hand on someone in the penalty box, you ask the question, don't you? And it causes problems for you. And so we saw it against when Chelsea played against Leeds. Yes, it might not have been a penalty for Chelsea to score the winning penalty, but as soon as you kick someone or touch someone in the box, the referee's always going to be slightly inclined to give it because it's there. And on this occasion, it's fallen for Chelsea's favour that actually it was in their own box and the referees deemed it the other way this time. But we're 44 minutes on the clock now, guys. We are a minute or so away. We'll have a couple of extra minutes. That's a lovely ball in there from Ziyech, and it's just gone all the way out for a Chelsea corner. Can Chelsea get their noses in front? It would change the halftime team talk most definitely for Chelsea's team, and Thomas Tuchel would definitely appreciate the change in team talk. But in terms of Chelsea, not really look too clinical, and I guess that is the credit you can give to Harry Kane there. The opportunity arose, stuck it in the back of the net. Don't matter if it was a foul because he still stuck it in the back of the net. Thiago Silva there wins that header, and it has gone over the crossbar from the following corner. A bit of a better corner there from Mason Mount.
Yeah, I feel the game is heating up a bit. I think half time is going to come at a good time. I mean, there have been 16 fouls already. 7 corners from Chelsea and 0 from Spurs. So I guess you can see which way the game is going. It's not in our favour.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been, I think the thing is for Spurs at the moment, they've got a few players who were sort of in the game, but then like Tanganga, we're seeing a lot of him, but it's just because Tanganga's actually fired up for it. And he seems to be one of the few players for Spurs who seems to be fired up for it. Whereas Højbjerg seems to be there and doing stuff, but you don't really pay attention. And Sessegnon, who I totally keep forgetting the Sessegnon's on the pitch. Oh, God. Ball down to Mount there, and that's well read, though, by Davinson Sanchez.
Well, you're just about to see him. He just kicks. Who did he kick in the knee?
I think it's Azpilicueta. Well, there's his contribution to the game.
I guess this is where your goal's coming from then, for half-time.
Don't say that. Don't jinx it, Hyro.
That's what I'm trying to do.
I'd appreciate it if you didn't. It'd be nice if we could get a goal. I guarantee this will be the one Chelsea Spurs game this season that's a 0-0, and it was the one game that that you're actually on for. It'll be the one that's a 0-0.
Usually, when I put a Spurs shirt on, we lose. So whenever I go to, it's not even White Hart Lane anymore, but I'm still going to call it that. Whenever we go to Lane, I tend to just wear a white T-shirt. The minute I put my shirt on, we lose.
The free kick there from Ziyech was whipped in straight into the hands, though, of Hugo Lloris. Not the best of corners there from Hakim Ziyech. He's been a bit quiet, if I'm brutally honest with you, in this game. To be honest with you, so have all of Chelsea's attackers. I think Harry Kane's been the most lively attacker on the field, and that's saying something, really, because he's not really been in the game himself other than that disallowed goal. Just over a minute left of added time at the end of this first half. Good job we don't have sort of 15 minutes or so. Oh, my God. Real Madrid equal. Eden Hazard got subbed off, and Real Madrid scored 3 minutes later and got an equaliser. So if that's all you need to know about Eden Hazard at Real Madrid, I honestly don't know what more you need to know about Eden Hazard's time at Real Madrid than that, if I'm honest with you.
Would you have him back?
No, not at all. And that's not disrespect to Eden Hazard. It's more the fact that actually this team doesn't need Eden Hazard. It's not where we need to thrive. We've got plenty of players who need to be given opportunities, the likes of Pulisic, Ziyech, Havertz, Werner, these players who can play out wide. And so we don't need him. He's one of our best ever players, don't get me wrong. But just now at the moment, I think that'll tell you all you need to know. The fact that they've just scored 2 goals as soon as Eden Hazard gets subbed off the pitch. It doesn't take a genius to work that one out, does it? It doesn't take a genius to work that one out at all. Malangsar there plays it into Thiago Silva, and the referee is going to blow for half-time, and it will be Chelsea 0, Tottenham 0 at half-time. Do be sure to stick around, guys. We're going to have a look at the stats, and we're going to have a little bit of a half-time talk about the game, what Hyro wants to see improving, maybe some subs for the 60th minute at the moment, and it does look like Harry Kane is going to be having a word with the referee here just about that disallowed goal. We'll let us know, guys. Get in the chats. Let us know your thoughts. If you have seen that disallowed goal for Tottenham Hotspur, whether you think that actually it should count, or if you think it shouldn't. I don't know why you wouldn't think it shouldn't, to be honest with you. But let's have a look then. I'll load up his goal, Sofa score again. We'll get it loaded up, and we'll have a look at the teams and match ratings and stuff like that, and see have a sort of talk about it and break it down. But your overall thoughts, Hyro, on the first half, positive or actually maybe negative?
I think we've been pretty poor.
Yeah,
if I'm honest. We've just defended a lot, and I think in terms of how Chelsea have been playing, I think you've been coming at us in the same way, and we've just been defending in the same way, knocking it up the pitch and hoping that we get a through ball. Yeah. We've not been any creativity at all. I'd like to see Lucas Moura come on, to be honest. I think on the bench, he's pretty much the only player I think that's going to be going out to win those second balls. We're not winning a lot of those at the minute. We're just kind of fluffing those. So yeah, I think we do need to make a change. But we've been pretty poor that half anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure if we look at the stats, it will see that actually it'll be card reviewed. Ryan Sessegnon. When did that happen? I have no clue. I actually have no clue what that card review was there. But if you look at possession, I'm sure we'll see actually, like you say, Hyro, it has been second best. We've just got a few comments coming in. The True Lion saying, clear foul, mate. And the True Lion wants Havertz, Werner and Kante to come on. Matthew Meredith says, very lucky, no goal. So I can see a few Chelsea fans are making their way into the chat, and very lucky is what he says. So I must say that I think that should have stood as a goal. To be completely transparent with you, I do think that should have stood as a goal. But
Kane put his hand on him. He just shouldn't have put his hand on him. I think that it's Kane's mistake. That's why we're not winning. But at the same time, we've only had one good opportunity.
Yeah. As soon as you put your hand on someone, especially in the box in an attacking position, it does cause a few problems. Stacey says we should bring on Lucas. Maybe Lucas might be the player you need, to be fair, if he is on the bench. Let's have a look. Just double check if he is on the bench. He is on the bench for today's game, which does actually surprise me even more that actually he wasn't playing. And I'm just trying to work out what everyone else is saying in the chat. But you're absolutely right. Kane shouldn't have done it. And if you just see in this top left sort of section here, this is the attacking momentum for the first half. Chelsea absolutely dominating for pretty much the entirety of the game. There's been small spells from Spurs, but not really any difference, to be honest with you. It's just been Chelsea. And it doesn't really surprise me whatsoever, to be honest with you. Stat-wise, 75% ball possession. I maybe thought that might be a bit lower, but now that you've come to mention it, it's like, actually, Spurs haven't really been on the ball. Chelsea have been playing the ball around comfortably, being able to move the ball around as fast and sharp as possible. So that's not really been too much of an issue. And then just the one big chance. I don't know who that big chance fell to for Chelsea, but just the one big chance for them. And not really a game of too many big opportunities, if I'm brutally honest with you. You look at the sort of the match rating so far as well. Japhet Tanganga, he obviously got caught up in a little bit of beef with Hudson-Odoi. Him and Hudson-Odoi, as you can see, on some of the lowest ratings of this first half. And I think they've just been having their own little battle down that left flank, or that Chelsea left flank. And to be honest with you, I don't think either of them have really been that good. I think that's justifiable rating. Hakim Ziyech on a 7.5 after I said he's not really been doing that much. Did you see anything for him to get that rating? Like, that's massively above as well. Like, if you look at massively above Mount and Azpilicueta there, what's he done?
I think if you look at how poor everyone's played, he must just be standing out.
Yeah.
Unless he's accidentally got that score, but for that rating.
So if you look at it, big chance created. The one big chance has fallen to him. He's had one key pass, touches 53. He's had a shot on target as well and a shot blocked. So if you look at that in terms of stats, it does actually look like, it's not been too bad in that sense. He looks like he's creating something. And I think that's the thing a lot of people were talking about in terms of Hakim Ziyech last time out, was the fact that Ziyech was the one who wasn't fearful to shoot. And as you can see today, he seems to be the one who's sort of picking up the pieces for Chelsea, even if he's not had the greatest of games. Like I was saying, Romelu Lukaku. Okay, here's the fun game for you, Hyro. How many touches has Romelu Lukaku had in this first half? Chat, let us know. Hyro, what are you going with?
20.
20. Well, let the chat see what they're going to go with. So we're going with 20 for Romelu Lukaku. I'll have a look at everyone else for the time being. Mason Mount on a 7 match rating seems to be dictating up that right-hand side, as you can see by that heat map. Harry Kane, how many touches do you reckon he's got?
I have no idea. Not a lot.
Idea.
14.
14 touches for Harry Kane. And to be honest with you, I think he's been more involved than Romelu Lukaku. So let's just have a look.
I think I saw Lukaku fall over the ball a few times. So does that count?
I don't think it does. Max went with 7. It's been 14 for Romelu Lukaku there. Possession lost 5 times. He's not fouled anyone. He's had a shot off target and he's had a shot blocked. I honestly don't know what's happening with Lukaku since he did that interview. It's just not been. He's not even been anywhere near. He's not really dribbled past anyone. 1 dribble past all game. 14 touches is disgracefully bad. From Romelu Lukaku. Oh, what's going on here? Why am I just got Romelu on the screen?
I mean, it's not too far off 20. If you count the ones he fell over the ball, I'm sure he had 20.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Or every time the ball just hit him and bounced off. They're all putting in the chat. They're all putting #MakeChewyMod. I can't actually do that at the moment, but maybe we'll make him mod if we hit 600. Maybe Chewy will be the next one to be made a moderator when we hit 600. We'll do that. You guys push us up towards 600, and then we'll make Chewy a mod for us, guys. We'll move on. We'll talk about Spurs. As you can see, match ratings not really been too great. Is there anyone that stands out there that surprises you that maybe you think deserves a higher match rating? Are you a massive fan of Ryan Sessegnon by any chance, Hyro?
I'm not a fan of anyone right now, judging on this performance. I just don't know where the goals are going to come from. Well, obviously we can see that Kane can score them, but in terms of chances created, no one has really done anything.
Yeah.
So I'm not feeling positive about this. I can see Chelsea scoring and winning this.
Yeah,
you just have far too many touches and far too. Although you've only had 1 shot on target, you've just had the possession, which it's just a matter of time, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And as you can see there, the key passes. Only 2 of those actually fall to a Spurs player. So that shows the lack of sort of options they've had, the lack of options everyone's had sort of moving the ball forward for Spurs. And like you say, it's not really been a convincing performance going forward for Spurs. Harry Kane, obviously, look at where he's picking the ball up here for Spurs. It's like he picks it. What is this? What is this heat map here? And why is it darker than everywhere else on the page? It's on the penalty spot. How many times is he picking it up off his own penalty spot?
I guess that's from your corners, your 1,000 corners that you've had.
It must be, because look at that. It's such a random heat map. And I think that shows maybe with Spurs how far Kane's having to actually come to pick up the ball. You don't want Harry Kane back here, do you? Collecting the ball. You don't really want him here. You want him around here. It needs to be more focused up here. But that is really strange from Harry Kane. Really, really strange from Harry Kane, I must say. A difficult one for Harry Kane so far. Looking at that subs bench, your first sub, who's it going to be? Lucas Moura?
I think Lucas Moura needs to come on. I just don't see where the goal's going to come from off that bench. I think if we're looking to score more, it needs to come on. I don't know who we're going to take off, but it's not a very entertaining bench, is it? If you,
no. It doesn't scream, we're going to win the league. Like, it just doesn't scream that at all, does it? It's just average.
So basic.
Yeah. So average. And who's your striker? Dane Scarlett. Like, does he even play for you? Like, does he actually get himself on the pitch at all?
I think they've just kind of found him somewhere and put him on the bench today.
They were just walking around the streets of London and went, "Can you kick a ball?" Yeah.
Does
all
anyone
right.
know how to play football?
Come on down then. Come on down.
I think Reguilon's had a few good games. He's got his moments, but Oliver Skip. But again, I just don't see anyone that's got that creative spark that's going to change the game. I think that's what we need, and that's what we're dreadfully missing, especially with Son out. I mean, he does carry momentum with him, and he does kind of change the tempo of the game quite a lot. And without him, we're again very basic. I think Kane himself slows the game down. I felt that at times when we haven't had Kane in the team, we've probably done a bit better in some of these kind of bigger games. I feel that we're slowing the pace down in order to get Kane into a position.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Lucas is very positive, like when he gets on the ball, and I think that really helps Spurs move the ball forward, which is obviously very important. It just made me laugh there that it said missing players, and to be honest with you, I think you could have put all of the Spurs players so far, including Ryan Sessegnon, in this missing players section, and Romelu Lukaku. He could also go in there. I don't think anyone would question that at all. But if you just look at that standings, we spoke about it earlier. If you are only 7 points behind Chelsea now with 4 games in hand, 7 points, sorry. Yeah, 8 points even, if I can do my maths correctly. It isn't too far away, but if you're putting in performances like this week in, week out, it is gonna bring into question sort of, yes, we've got these games in hand, yes, there's potential, but are we ever going to use that potential? Are we ever going to push on? That must be the thought in your mind right now.
I think Man City is one of those games in hand as well, which probably isn't going to be favourable for us. So I think really we've only got kind of 3 games in hand if you count Man City, because I don't think we're going to win that. But yeah, I mean, we're not too far off the rest of the pack. I mean, I think I take some of my words back about Liverpool and City. In fact, if City, with Liverpool's game in hand, if they win that, they're only 6 points behind. So yeah, I could see in that instance City bodging it a little bit, especially with some of these relegation battles that are probably going to be coming on. You never know near the end of the season when the kind of smaller teams in the kind of at the bottom end of the table are fighting for survival. They become quite tough games.
Yeah, they do. They definitely do, especially if Norwich turn up like they have done for the last 2 games. Got themselves 2 wins. Obviously, Newcastle got themselves a win as well this week. And we've got a new subscriber in Hurricane. So thank you for subscribing. Really do appreciate it. Lovely to have you in the chat as well. Yeah, like we say, those games towards the back end of the season, I think, especially because Everton are getting dragged into this now, aren't they? And Everton are getting dragged into this relegation scrap. And that is not a team that you want to be, like, towards the end of the season, wanting to have to scrap it out with. Because Everton, they've definitely got the quality. Like, no one's questioning the quality there. It's just how the team's being run, sort of thing, at the moment. So that's not a team you want to be scrapping it out with, especially if it comes down to United, West Ham, Tottenham, Arsenal, Wolves, all trying to get this final Champions League spot. You don't want to be scrapping with them at all. I think we are getting ever so close to the restart of this second half. So let me get back on with the football so I can see what's going on our streams. So we've spoken about Lucas Moura. Hyro wants Lucas Moura sooner rather than later, I'm assuming. You're not just going to be like, yeah, bring him on 89th minute.
Let's see what you can do.
Yeah.
I think he needs. If we don't do anything in the next 10 minutes, Moura needs to come on.
Yeah.
I can't see us getting a draw even if we just continue playing at this pace. And for me, I think you might as well scrap it out and try and get that win. A draw is, I don't know, 1 point. If you get that win, that's 3 points. It's, for me, I feel like they should just battle this out rather than just sit there losing it.
Yeah, to be honest with you, at this point, I'm like, why don't we just change this whole game into just do a UFC fight, and then whoever wins, wins. Whoever has the last man standing wins it. I think it'd be way more interesting than it has been in that first half, to be honest with you. I saw Max commenting earlier about it being boring. And to be honest with you, for what? At least 40 of those 45 minutes, it has been a boring game so far. Let me update the banner. We'll get ourselves underway for the second half. I'm still not optimistic that my score prediction will come through for the second half of a 3-1 to Chelsea. But we've seen weirder things, haven't we? We definitely have seen weirder things. Just before we do get into the second half and the action does get underway, if you are new to the Sam Redgate-Large channel, do be sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff, and help the channel grow and keep pushing on upwards towards that wonderful 600 subscriber mark that I'm edging ever so closely to. And just gradually moving my way on up. I actually gained a few subscribers over the weekend and I didn't even upload anything. So I'm going to take that as a massive win. But we need to keep on moving on up. We do need to keep on moving on up. Let me know as well, guys, if there's any streams that you want to see in midweek. If we've got any midweek streams. I'm not really caught up to date. I think there is. Watford will have their second game as well. Watford definitely have their second game. Where's my overlay gone? I'm really confused now. Oh, let me get this sorted out. They're just sorting out the net. A weird one.
Looks like you're ripped somehow.
I mean, no one's touched it.
I think it was Kane's shot actually went through the net. But I guess that shows the level of care that the Premier League has at the minute.
Yeah. The level of football as well, the fact that that is the most exciting thing that has happened so far in this game is the fact that the net ripped and no one was anywhere near it for the whole game. Oh, gosh.
I think already we've come out a bit more fiery. You can see us closing those players down a lot quicker than we were in the first half already within like 10 seconds.
Doesn't take much.
I don't know what it is with Spurs teams. You can go back 20 years and they're all the same. They just relax too much. Can you really have that type of momentum in a team that just continues? It's very strange.
It is weird, but it's like with Chelsea with the curse of the number 9, though. Like, how does that keep happening? How do Chelsea keep buying a number 9 that's absolutely god awful, or just making a number 9 god awful?
Was Shevchenko a number 9?
Yep.
I'm not sure how the best striker in the world came to Chelsea and just didn't do anything.
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't have called Steve Sidwell the best striker in the world, to be fair.
Well,
Steve Sidwell was number 9. We had Torres as well, obviously Shevchenko, like you said. Crespo wasn't that great at Chelsea. Morata.
I always had a feeling that Torres lost his skill the minute he cut all his hair off.
Yeah, I think there was a correlation there.
It was kind of like a Hercules moment.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to like the next few seconds, Sam.
That's a lovely turn by Hudson-Odoi to get away from Kanga. Here's Hudson-Odoi. Hudson-Odoi drives into space, gives it to Hakim Ziyech. Ziyech is going to cut in on that left foot. Oh, my God. Oh, what a finish that is from Ziyech. Oh, my God. What
Everyone
a
just
miss
stood
that is
still.
from Ziyech. Oh my gosh.
What did I say about closing players down?
Hakeem Ziyech, man. You can keep being the only one scoring if you're going to get out absolute pearlers like that. What a beautiful strike. But exactly what you were saying about closing players down. Spurs there. How much room did Hakeem Ziyech have on the edge of the box there? Don't get me wrong. The finish is exquisite. You cannot put that any further in that top bin. But questions about the defending, isn't there, Hyro?
We just leak goals. I mean, I think we've conceded 5 more goals than Chelsea this season, but in terms of our goal difference, I think it's like 3. I think you're at least on 24.
Yeah, we've scored a lot this season. Most of them from Reece James and Ben Chilwell, but we have scored a lot this season.
That's just giving you that spark now that you need to.
Yeah, I hope so.
Whack another one in. Oh,
I hope so. Kovacic picking up the ball here, rolling it forward, driving forward.
Ziyech again.
Here's Hakeem Ziyech into Aspilicueta, pulls it back to Mason Mount. Mount shoots. It's going to fall to Ziyech. Oh, what a save that is from Hugo Lloris. That is a brilliant, brilliant save. Another great strike from Hakeem Ziyech, who's starting to show a little bit of class there. But Tottenham look on the ropes. But what a save that is from Hugo Lloris. Credit where credit's due. He's had to do well to get himself down to that sharply and quickly. And it's a good save as well, because it does go really wide of the goal and it takes it away from the Spurs box as well. Spurs definitely need a rocket up their backsides as well in this second half now, because otherwise they could be on for a long, long second half there.
It is a very Spursy performance, let's be honest. I just can't see us even equalising. We're just particularly poor. I think whenever we play Chelsea, we just have this lull in performance. I don't know what it is. I think it's psychological myself.
Yeah.
It just must be.
Must be something in the water.
Lasagna.
There must be something. Harry Kane, though, there had an opportunity. The ball pinged long, but he just couldn't quite get on the end of it. Rolled safely into the hands of Kepa Arrizabalaga. And these guys are doing some networking in the chat. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. I'm now really nervous, though, because it's now ours to lose. But at least we're ahead sort of thing. It's... Oh, my God. What was that from Hudson-Odoi? What have I just seen there from Hudson-Odoi? What was that? Who was he passing that to? He's just hoofed it out of play for... I don't know. I really don't know.
Conte looks like he's about to cry. And, you know, I think there's a lot of Spurs fans who probably feel the same watching this.
Yeah. And this is Conte's return to the bridge as well, remember? $50 minutes on the clock, ladies and gents. Chelsea 1, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Chelsea, the goal coming from Hakeem Ziyech. What a beauty that was. I tell you what. I'm sure if Spurs score, Hyro is going to celebrate as much as I did with that one, because that was an absolute perler. I couldn't contain my excitement. What an absolute strike that was from Hakeem Ziyech. Who maybe we're starting to see some form from Ziyech. Who knows? 2 goals in his last 2 games. Maybe he's one to look out for fantasy football addicts. He seems to be carrying Chelsea's goal tally at the moment and creative options at the moment.
I just feel if we play the same team 3 times in 2 weeks, we should get something, you know. Just anything. Just anything. I don't think we haven't even scored, have we?
No. It was 2-0, 1-0, and now it's 1-0. Although Harry Kane has had 2 goals ruled out, so there can be your takeaway, Hyro, if you'd like it.
We have scored then.
And you had 2 penalties thingied as well in the last game.
But I mean, you would think that you would get something.
He
They've
definitely
just not adapted at all.
Yeah, and that's maybe the criticism that's going to fly around as well about Conte, especially today, is that he's had three cracks at the egg, really, hasn't he? And in quick succession, and every time at the moment, Spurs have been outplayed for the vast majority of the game and haven't really been able to get themselves on the ball, especially with, a good turnaround sort of after Leicester. A lot of Spurs fans that I've seen online and, around and about have been very positive about the way that Spurs came back, and it showed actually a bit of quality. Mounts, just over the bar there. Luis had it covered, though. There's been a lot of positivity, like I say, but there's just something about Spurs, isn't there? And I don't know what it is. And I hate to use the phrase Spursy, but it is very Spursy, the fact they play in these big games and just don't turn up.
I mean, if you look at the Champions League final with Liverpool, I know they cheated, but if you look at our performance then, Liverpool were pretty terrible themselves. And we just had to play okay to win, and we just went there and just, again, didn't do anything.
Yeah, I think the occasion got the better of Spurs that time around, because a lot of people say that was one of the most boring Champions League finals ever. I'm sure that the Chelsea versus Manchester City one has given them a good run for their money, but there is always questions around Spurs. And is it the personnel? Is it just something that is there a lesson they go to? There's an online course they do about how to bottle it. I don't know.
I see more is coming on now within 10 minutes. So I guess my prediction was correct.
There we are. At least that prediction's come correct.
Well, I guess the both have.
Spurs is still on as well. Your 2-1 to Spurs is still on. At the moment. Obviously, I don't know what you've seen with you being 15 seconds in front of me.
I'll tell you what I've seen, and it's not... If you were being monetized, you'd be demonetized pretty fast. I don't want to spoil it for you.
Mount's going to whip in this corner. It's flicked on by Thiago Silva, and that finds the back of the net. Oh my gosh. The defending on that was awful again from Spurs. And it's Chelsea 2, Tottenham Hotspur 0. And I think you needed Mora to come on slightly earlier, I think, Jairo. What did you make to the defending of that? I don't know what Højbjerg and...
someone touched it. It was deflected off someone. I can't see who it was, though.
Thiago Silva was claiming it.
Did it come off Sanchez?
I'm not sure. I think they're appealing because Azpilicueta, does he block off Harry Kane at the edge of the box? Is that what they're appealing for? I think it might be. And Azpilicueta initially starts in an offside position. And so it's a matter of, I don't know if you saw in that United game the other day, I do believe it was United Aston Villa in the FA Cup. It's a matter of, is that classed as offside? And it looks like it is going to stand there. Lucas Moura and Oliver Skip coming on. So Antonio Conte has seen enough of Ryan Sessegnon, or, well, not seen enough in that sense. Barely realised he was on the pitch. Oh, Sess is still on the pitch. Nice.
Does it get him off? Again, I just don't see that this is a substitution or substitutions that are going to make any impact at all.
Yeah. Thiago Silva, though, does find the back of the net for Chelsea, making it 2-0 to Chelsea. So a little bit of confidence there, but I'd feel more confident if we maybe sort of saw a good goal from someone who isn't a defender or a midfielder, and, Romelu Lukaku or Timo Werner decided that they wanted their shooting boots to be up. But you can't be too greedy and wish for everything, can you?
At least your team's winning.
Very good point. Very good point. Oh, God. Shafter says, get in. Come on, Chelsea, says the True Lion. 1, 2, 3, 4. Spurs get battered everywhere they go, says Fraser.
But that doesn't rhyme.
I don't know. Something's kicking off as well. I don't know what's been said or what's been happening.
No, they're just bumping each other. Bumper cars, I think.
Bergwijn talking to the referee with Aspilicueta, Chelsea's captain. Let's have a look. Oh, it's just Aspilicueta and Bergwijn with a bit of argy-bargy, bit of handbags, and then Bergwijn, as we know...
Bergwijn has a shot. He has a shot that...
As a shot.
They shot. That's all I can say about it. It was okay.
Oh, it's shot on the turn, to be fair. Hard technique.
And it was on target.
It was on target.
That bumps our shots up on target to what, 1?
Yep. That will be your first shots on target that was, onside. But, easy for Kepa. If that had gone in, then definitely get our other keeper on, because I tell you what, I would not have been happy at all. Shafter says he's happy with Chelsea so far, so that's good. But
well, I mean, I can't complain. If you go to Stamford Bridge and play like this, and Chelsea were not playing that great, they're playing a lot better now this half. Yeah, but they weren't playing great the first half, and we couldn't even muster a couple shots on target.
Yeah, you're always against it when the team that you've come to play against aren't playing well, but yet you still cannot find the opportunity to create chances and move the ball forward fast, then you know you're in trouble, don't you?
I mean, I think many teams, if they play Spurs, they don't come and think, oh, we're going to get beat. I just don't think we instill that fear into teams.
Yeah, I think maybe when it was sort of prime Delhi, prime Kane, like that era, when Delhi scored, what was it, 18 goals in one season, I think people were like, oh, this Spurs side is good. There's a little bit of fear there because the goals weren't just coming from Kane and Son. They were coming from quite a few places. But now at the minute, seems a bit timid all the time, really. And they just look a little bit shy.
We just can't get the ball through.
Here's Eric Dyer. He's going to take the ball out himself. Oliver Skipp, who's just come on. Lucas Moura looks to play that into the feet of Harry Kane, though. Only succeeds in giving it to Thiago Silva. Here's Mateo Kovacic into Thiago Silva, who finds Jorginho. And Jorginho's going to distribute wide and find Aspilicueta. Chelsea happy to settle on the ball at the moment. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to take the game to Spurs now. And they don't have to worry about getting that cushion because they do have that 2-goal cushion now. We know, obviously, that football can change in a matter of moments, though. Mount finds Hakim Ziyech. Ziyech off this right-hand side, rolls it into Mason Mount again. Mount pulls it back, looking for Lukaku in there, who didn't even jump. Like, is that too much to ask to get Lukaku to jump there? Like, it's been pulled back for a foul on, I believe it's Ziyech. Yeah, a foul from Ben Davies on Ziyech. But is that too much to ask, just to ask for Romelu Lukaku for when a cross comes in to jump in the air? Surely he can do that.
It's a basic momentum, isn't it? Being a footballer, if you see the ball, you jump at it.
You'd like to hope so, wouldn't you? Well, unless it's on the ground, of course. That would.
I mean, I can see another goal coming for Chelsea now from this free kick. Yeah, I just feel like defending from set pieces is just trash. That's the only way I can describe it.
The referee's having a word with Aspilicueta again. Aspilicueta is doing a lot of talking with sort of actions here, isn't he? He's causing a few problems. But Ziyech is going to go out and take this corner. Free kick, sorry. Whipped in by Ziyech, flicked on, though, by Harry Kane and over the bar.
I'm thinking that's where Harry Kane's heat map is. They're showing him where his
Yeah,
placement
doing
is.
his
He's just heading these out all the time.
Yeah, he's doing his defensive duties, isn't he? To be fair to him, he is doing it well. Like, if you've got to give him some credit.
I think he's one of the taller players. Our team's quite miniature.
Yeah. Do you remember when Eric Dyer scored a free kick for England against?
Once, yeah, I remember.
Was it against Russia?
Wasn't it just kind of? Didn't Trippier score one as well?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that was in the semis, wasn't it?
They were not great free kicks, were they? They just kind of.
The Eric Dyer one
just
was
wasn't really bothered.
The Trippier one, like, the more I watch it, the more I'm like, that wasn't even in the top corner.
Yeah, it's. I guess you see a lot of these goals that people rave about. They're not that spectacular, are they? I think it's like the Rooney one, the overhead kick that just came off his knee, wasn't it? Bit of a shin.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, even the Gareth Bale one as well against Liverpool in the final a few years ago, Champions League. That hit his shin and flew in. And then, of course, Karius helped him with the rest of it. But the thing is, I almost feel bad for Spurs. And like, I know I shouldn't because I'm a Chelsea fan, but I almost feel bad for him because, like, all of the hype this season, like Nuno Espirito Santo came in, first 3 games, top of the league, hadn't conceded any goals, scored, 3-4 goals, top of the league, you beat Man City on the first day, didn't you?
Those were accidents, you know. I think Nuno, his tenure was it was doomed from before he even came. I think most fans were quite skeptical about him in the first place. But I mean, if you're a player and you see your team going through 3 or 4 managers while you're there, how does that feel? Doesn't fill you with much confidence, does it? I mean, this game at the minute is just. It's just. I don't feel sorry for the team. I think that they should be playing better.
The game almost feels like it's trickling out already, and we're in the 65th minute, if anyone's wondering. Obviously, not got the timer up today, but it does feel like it's trickling out a little bit. It maybe just needs a Spurs injection or a Chelsea injection of just something, because it feels like it's trickling out. But
I mean, we've just given the ball away there.
Gave it straight back to Ziyech, who actually decides to use his right foot for once. Mount tries to win the ball back there from Harry Winks. He does really well there, Mason Mount, and it's gone behind for a Tottenham corner. Matthew reckons we've won already by the looks of things. And he's moaning as well because Schrafter has done a video ranting about Thomas Tuchel and wanting Thomas Tuchel out of Chelsea Football Club. That is very harsh. I mean, we've just spoken about Nuno having a short tenure at Spurs, but it would be incredibly harsh to sack Thomas Tuchel this season, wouldn't it?
I methink Nuno didn't, as nice as a guy as he looked, he just didn't have a clue what he was doing. I think I think Tuchel does have a slight clue what he's doing. So yeah, I think it's not on the same level as Nuno. But yeah, I guess if your expectations are higher than this,
yeah,
which is a Chelsea supporter, I guess you would be. I mean, if I was Chelsea, I'd still be disappointed with this performance. It's not the greatest, is it?
Yeah, it's not the greatest. It goes down in the box there. Is that a penalty? No, he's giving it the other way.
I mean, is that Skip just hauled him down to the floor?
Let's watch it. How's he given that as a... It looks like a rock, doesn't it? Rather than anything else.
He's just assaulted him.
Surely VAR has got to check that. How have they given that the other way? What? I have no clue how they've given that the other way there. Literally no clue.
They probably feel sorry for us.
I mean, yeah, probably. They're like, oh, just leave him. They're already 5-0 down over the 3 games, so just leave him. Ziyech, lovely ball there into Hudson-Odoi. Hudson-Odoi, can he get on the end of that? Hugo Lloris does well, but only succeeds there and actually playing that header onto Doherty.
The more I watch that header, the more I see how pointless it was.
Yeah. Doherty might have caught up Hudson-Odoi anyway in the first place. But credit where credit's due. He wanted to, channel his inner Manuel Neuer, so why not? Let the man do it. Let the man do it. Would you take back, and here's my question for you, with having seen Doherty obviously maybe not being the greatest of form over the last few weeks, would you take back Trippier if Newcastle get relegated and Trippier wants to come back to Spurs? Would you take him back?
No. I think he was another one that was... I think we got our value out of Trippier. He was never really... He was okay, and he did some okay things, but I don't think he was a first-team player, really. It just wasn't that great.
I mean, he scored a good goal for us, if you remember. The lovely back pass where he just played it round Lloris for us, and Willian ran off scoring as if he'd scored a worldie.
Yeah, I was never a big Trippier fan. Again, he was another one of those players that's... You can't trust him.
Yeah.
He's just a liability.
Lukaku there. Much better from Romelu Lukaku there to shrug off his man. Yeah, a lot of people want Trippier in the England squad over Kyle Walker, but I've always rated Kyle Walker greater than Kieran Trippier. I don't know about yourself.
I think, Walker's definitely a better player all round. But again, his kind of last ball just wasn't that great ever. I think that's one of his main downfalls. He'd get up to the end of the pitch and try and cross it and just hit the first man and go out. Yeah. Kind of like this corner we just had just then. You're about to see.
All right. My stream just dropped out for some reason, which was fun.
I mean, you get a lot of these questions, don't you? Would you take this player back or would you not? Bale came back for a second spell. And you just relaxed, didn't he? We used him a bit, but it was never the same. I think there's this expectation that they'll come back and be just as amazing or amazing. And it's just never the case.
I mean, he Bale was someone who, he came a bit washed up, if you will. Still scored 11 goals last season, which ain't too bad, for Gareth Bale sort of coming back, sort of thing, is it? It's not too bad. But someone like a Trippier, it's like, is there the use for him? Do you really need him, sort of thing?
I don't think so.
What do you think to Emerson? Because a lot of Spurs fans have been talking about Emerson and giving him a hard time. Emerson Royale, that is. And apparently Barcelona were shocked when Spurs offered him something like however many mil, whatever that you offered him. Apparently they were like, we didn't value him at that, but yeah, we'll take your money. So have you watched much of Emerson this season, or are you just covering your eyes?
I haven't seen too much of him this season, but what I have seen of him, I haven't been too impressed.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not sure where he sits in the team, but I don't think he's one for the long haul. No, I think you find this a lot with a lot of the foreign players when they come over. They either make it or they don't, and he's clearly one of them that didn't make it. Yeah,
it does bring up massive question marks, doesn't it? And it's like the fact that Barca as well turned around and said, "We don't know if we were like." Why have you offered us that? I think that shows that even Barca, in the middle of their crisis, were not even trying to push for that for them.
Does he not have a clause in his contract for buyback? I think Barca and Real normally do that, don't they?
Yeah, so did Chelsea. Chelsea have done it on Livramento, Tammy Abraham, Tyreek Lamptey. They've done it on all of them, I think. They've done it on quite a few, I must say. But shame he didn't have one on Gareth Bale. That'd have been good. Here's Harry Winks. Finds Kane, who's gone out to that right-hand side there. I guess that's the story of this game so far. Harry Kane trying to pick up the ball in different places rather than just sort of playing through the middle where he typically is. For some reason, I think my stream's further behind yours again now. What minute are you in?
72:15.
Yeah, I'm now 45 seconds behind. Brilliant. Even better.
Well, he caught up last time somehow.
Yeah, I don't know how. Bergwijn into Højbjerg. Højbjerg. Oh, Doherty.
I'm sure you used to be able to pause now TV. I can't seem to do it on this.
I'm going to try and catch up again. I don't know how I did it last time.
Imagine how I feel. I've paid $9.99 to watch this.
And you can't pause it.
And the season. Oh, no, not the season ticket. Yeah, but I've paid $9.99 to watch us lose.
Good stuff. Kante is going to be coming onto the pitch. Let's see who that's for. I assume it is for Jorginho. Yeah, it is. There he is. Jorginho is going to be coming off. Third in the Ballon d'Or last year for Jorginho. Whether you believe that was deserved is up to you.
Ballon d'Or, I think it's just a bit of a joke, isn't it? It's a joke that they have once a year.
It's like, yeah, should we vote for Messi again? Woohoo!
Messi or Ronaldo?
Which one do we prefer? There's only one way to find out. Fight! Like Harry Hill's TV burp all those years ago. Let's see how many likes are we on, guys. What like goal was 15? We are one away from 15, guys. So if you could drop a like on the stream for us, that would be absolutely fantastic. If you are enjoying the stream and wanting to see more of it.
Aris Balaga is probably one of the longest names I've seen on the back of a shirt. Has there been a longer one? I guess that's a general knowledge one for you.
Does Walker Peters? Does he have his last name on the back of his shirt, or does he just have Peters?
I have no idea. Probably Walker Peters.
Yeah, I know what you mean because it curves around, doesn't it? It's that long. We can never fit Redgate-Large on the back. That used to really annoy me as a kid, as you can imagine. Me just sat there with R large on the back of my shirt, and my brother saying it means really large to people who ask what's on the back of my shirt.
Sam R large.
Yeah.
It's almost like a grammar error, doesn't it?
Yeah. But Jake just used to say it's Sam really large, and then it really used to annoy me and upset me. I was like, no! Here's Winks. Picks up the ball in a bit of space. Spurs getting on the ball a little bit more, but not really doing anything with the ball. Ball into Kane there, and it's easily read. And that seems to be the story, really. They seem to try play the ball into the feet of Harry Kane, but when Kane gets the ball to his feet, there's not really the support and the option there for Spurs to really do anything with it. And it's been a long game for Harry Kane, whose best plays really so far have come from defensive play, really. And we've got about 15 minutes left on the clock.
I'll be happy at 2-0.
You'll be happy at 2-0. That's a sad reality of life, isn't it, really?
Isn't it? I will be happy if we don't concede anymore.
God, that's
where I'm at. I mean, I didn't think we'd win anyway, judging by the precedent set by the last two matches.
Yeah. Oh, I think I've caught up with you again. I don't know how. I just refreshed my stream and it caught up by 30 seconds. So
Laurie's just got one in the head.
Yeah, from Mount.
So 10 corners Chelsea have had.
Domination, really. So happy you're losing, says Fraser. Jesus, Fraser.
Yeah.
Mount whips it in.
I'm not happy for losing. I'm happy that it's not more than 2-0. That's what I'm happy about.
You can go home and sleep okay at night if it's 2-0. If it's anything more, you're like tossing and turning at night, keeping yourself awake.
I mean, normally when I go to watch the game with my father, I hope we don't lose too much, because it just involves a more difficult conversation on the way home about why we've lost so much. I can't deal with it, so
And not the excitement.
keep it at 2-0.
It's always difficult though, especially in derby games, because form goes out the window. And with Chelsea, like I think I saw a stat like you've only won once at Stamford Bridge in I can't remember how many years it is, but it's a long time since you last won at Stamford Bridge.
There was something that showed the number of games Spurs have won against Chelsea, and vice versa, and it was pretty low.
Yeah. It's like Chelsea's the big brother, and they just can't do anything. How many subs do you need for community tabs? You need 500 subs for community tabs. So I have just got that now that I'm on 550 something. So I've just got that, which I'm making full use of. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled for stuff like that, guys, because obviously if you guys post on my or comment on those posts or vote on the polls and stuff, it gives me extra boosts, and it obviously helps me with the search engine as well. Just watching Ziyech's goal into that top corner again, and it was a very smug celebration from Hakim Ziyech, I must say, a very smug one. And Ziyech man of the match, says Matthew. I think the thing is you've got to give it to Ziyech so far. Like we've got 10 minutes left. You've kind of got to give it to Ziyech because he scored that absolute beauty. And like we said in the first half, he was the best of a bad bunch, wasn't he, really, in the first half? And now he's got himself a goal. He put in a half-decent shift this second half, so who knows? And apparently I'm on 560 subscribers, so thank you to the new subscriber as well. What are you Googling this time, Hyro?
I was trying to find the head-to-heads, but I just gave up. I realised it probably wasn't going to be worth talking about.
For your sanity.
Yeah.
We just be like, where's Hyro gone? And he's just crying. We've only won one in 280 games.
I think it was something like that. It wasn't far off.
Lukaku down this right flank. Lukaku, can he get his shot off? Oh, he's so clumsy, isn't he? Like that touch, he just went to roll it into Hudson-Odoi, and the touch was just so clumsy. So clumsy.
I mean, I went to see the last two, not these semi-finals gone, but I've been to see the last two semi-finals that we played Chelsea in. It's been the same sort of gameplay.
Yeah.
You just don't score and just get destroyed. I just think it's a bogey team. You're just a bogey team.
Yeah. Some people get that though. That's the thing. Some random teams just have these, teams that turn up. Ours is weirdly Arsenal, but then Arsenal's is you. So it's like we just all randomly just beat each other. It's like I think one season Arsenal beat us twice, we beat you twice, and you beat Arsenal twice, and then it was like, all right, sweet.
I feel Arsenal aren't quite the threat they used to be. I'm quite confident we can go to an Arsenal game and win that. I feel they've lulled off quite a bit over the last 5-6 years. Blame it on the stadium, but I think Wenger just ran out of steam, to be honest. Yeah,
I do. I think Arsenal were just running towards the end of sort of their glory years, if you will, sort of like Man United have, and now we're seeing a different era of glory years because people talk about these clubs and be like, oh yeah, Chelsea, City, they have no history. And for me, that's, especially with Chelsea, that's massively up for debate, because I won't say a top four side in the 90s has no history, because that would be like, if Spurs in however many years' time, say 10 years' time, were to all of a sudden be winning leagues, you wouldn't turn around and say they've got no history, because they've been top four, top six consistently. That's a different rant. Matthew has just found the stat for you, Hyro. Spurs have only won one game at the Bridge since 1990. Matthew has just found that stat for you.
That's the best stat I've been given recently. Yeah, no, I've kind of thought that. I don't recall ever winning against Chelsea. Maybe a couple of times, but not consistent.
Yeah, because even when you played us, was it FA Cup semi-final? Nemanja Matic scored that absolute worldie. Absolutely smacked it in. And I think we won like 4-1 then. It is just a bogey team. It really is. But I do think like Arsenal's just going through that period. Like obviously now with Newcastle, they're going to be starting to prosper again. But Newcastle have been in that period, haven't they? Where sort of late 90s, early 2000s, and they were a good team, sort of fighting at the top half of the league. And I think Arsenal are now going to find their way down again. I'm sure there will be a renaissance for them, but I think it's just the cycle of football, isn't it, that Manchester United and Arsenal are on at the moment, and Chelsea and City will probably outlive that a little bit longer, because it isn't about the cycle of football at the moment. Oh, Bergwijn, what was that? He scuffed that into the hands of Kepa there. It's at the moment, football's not about who's got the best talented footballers. It's about who's got the most money. And so provided the likes of Chelsea and City can keep buying, they'll keep themselves at the top of the game for as long as possible, as long as their owners own them.
The thing is, Tottenham are not a poor team. They have a lot of money. I think Levy just gets in the way too much. I don't think he does. I don't know, he's a micromanager.
What would you say your managing style is, Hyro?
I don't know. Not a Levy style management.
A laissez-faire type of management. Matthew said Chelsea won more than draws. What? Won more than draws at the Bridge since 1990. I mean, I would assume they would have done. I can't imagine there being that many draws in it, because they do seem to. The only time I can think of that Chelsea have drawn is the Battle of the Bridge. I don't know if there's another one that's obvious, but even then, it was more of a win for Chelsea. Oh, Mora trying to slide through Harry Kane there. It was more of a win for Chelsea because we stopped you winning the league, didn't we? So, like, it was a draw, but also to come from 2-0 down to then actually stop you from winning the league, or ruin your hopes of winning the league. It was almost a big win there for Chelsea, wasn't it?
If you're bitter and you want Spurs to not win anything, yeah. Oh. What a save. Exactly.
In comes a corner then, following that pass. In towards Kane. Good save there from Kepa. A really good save. And that was why Hyro made that noise a moment ago. But Kepa's gone down. It looks like he's hurt his hand there. But that was a good header from Harry Kane, to be fair. But Kepa's done well to get himself equal to it. But that doesn't look good for Chelsea, with Kepa and Balaga going down. Matthew says, what a save.
I mean, no one was marking Kane. Free header.
Yeah, absolutely free as you like. I'm not sure what Kepa's done there, to be honest with you. Looking at that replay from behind the goal, it doesn't look like he's like punched it in any particular way. Oh, he just hits his hand on the goalpost by the looks of things as he falls down. And the commentators there just saying, if that goes in, all of a sudden everything changes. And I think it would spice up the game. But, another corner here potentially for Spurs to spice up the game a little bit. And Matthew says he's slightly ahead of us as well. And Hudson-Odoi looks like he's going to be making way as well. And and Alonso is coming on. Matthew's just literally about 3 seconds ahead of us. He keeps popping in the chat, literally 3 seconds ahead of what's going on. So it's quite handy, actually. It's like I've got me on-scene reporter for me down there with Matthew. But here comes the corner, potentially an opportunity for Spurs here. Whipped in, cleared at that front post and flicked on towards Ziyech, who's ended up clipping it clear. Here's Oliver Skip. Harry Winks finds Lucas Moura. Spurs being really pinned back here, having to move all the way back from a good half-decent Chelsea press. Ziyech might have picked up the ball there. Kante does eventually. There is Alonso getting his first taste of the action so far. Malang Sarr seems to have moved in a bit more centrally. Maybe it'll be more of a three at the back now that... a three at the back now that Alonso has come on. Chelsea looking to build here. Can they get themselves a third goal? Tackled, though, by Højbjerg as he tries to look forward. What do you make to Højbjerg as well? I'm intrigued to see as Brian Hill's about to come on. Højbjerg, to me, like we saw him in the Euros and we saw him and he played in quite an advanced position. But it's not, he doesn't seem to have that license, does he, for Spurs? And is that something that maybe Spurs are missing out on, having Højbjerg move the ball up with the ball further up the field, or do you think he does well enough at CDM that you can justify not playing him as more of a centre attacking midfielder?
I think we need a central attacking midfielder. As you've seen in this game, we've just sat back and kind of defended more than anything. And even when the goals have gone in, we haven't really attacked. We've just sat back. Again, there's no creativity. I think if there's someone with creativity in the team that can be used, we should be using them.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's for me. There's just nothing here with the Spurs team at the minute.
Yeah.
I think they look deflated for some reason.
Well, I mean, they have been beaten 3 times in a row by Chelsea, so that's a pretty good reason to be deflated.
Yeah. But they look tired. I mean, since Pochettino left, we've not really had a good transition period.
No.
Which I think we definitely need. I think we need to get some new players in, and sort of some of these fringe players need to move on. But I think part of this team is still Pochettino's team that we're trying to do something with, which was a dying team before he even left. Yeah.
Because you lost Eriksen, and Eriksen was really the linchpin for the last sort of couple of years. Hakim Ziyech has gone down. That doesn't look good, because Hakim Ziyech is a player who gets injured quite a lot. And I hope he doesn't, because especially now, as we've seen, he's starting to show that he can actually score some good goals. But Spurs, it does look like it's still very much a Pochettino team. Interestingly, though, I spoke about Eriksen just slightly then and touched on him. He is looking, he's available for a contract. We've got 5 minutes of added time. He's available for a contract. Brentford are the ones going in for him. Are you quite surprised that Spurs haven't looked at Eriksen and gone, he's got the history here. Yes, he wanted to leave because of Poch, but he's got the history here. Could be a great opportunity for him.
I think he's worth a try. But again, it's kind of... You're looking back at these old players who were playing for you like 3-4 seasons ago. And I don't, would he actually fit into the team? Is this medical condition? How is that? I think there's questions to be asked about it. I mean, he's saying that he's fit to play. But how fit is he?
Yeah.
I mean, if there's no Premier League teams going in for him, then there must be a reason why.
Yeah, I believe Brentford are the only team that have made a formal approach because I believe Thomas Frank, who is the manager of Brentford, also coached him at Ajax many moons ago. So that's why he's looking to go there. But I think it'd be a good move for Brentford, because if you look at it for Brentford, they're looking to sign him on a 6 months deal. They're looking to give 6-month deal, which is obviously ideal for Eriksen, because Eriksen knows that his ceiling is a lot higher than Brentford currently. but he has to be able to prove that actually he is fit. He's 30, isn't he now? So starting to go that wrong side of 30 in terms of footballing terms. But for Brentford, I think it's a win-win. They can take a risk. It could be, a nice thing for Brentford. But then the questions are, for someone like a Spurs, would that have that nostalgia to it? Would it just be another nostalgia buy like the likes of Bale and obviously Ronaldo, that maybe works out okay for a couple of weeks and then doesn't really do too much? And Matthews just put the Sky have given Ziyech as the man of the match. If I had to prompt you for one, Hyro, what would you go for? If you could name a best player from the Spurs side, who would it be?
I think this is a difficult question, Sam. I think Kane probably. I know he hasn't done too much, but neither's the rest of the team. But he has defended a lot. I can't see anyone who's done much.
Yeah,
I don't think any of them deserve it. I don't think any of them deserve anything.
Not even a cheater.
I mean, but back to sort of this Eriksen thing. I do feel it would be a bit of a nostalgic buy. If it's on a pay-as-you-play deal, I think you can't go wrong. But I just don't think he'd be the same player. And I think when he was a Spurs player, he used to go missing quite a lot as well.
Yeah, he was definitely in the missing players list.
He wasn't really consistent. Maybe he didn't want to be, but
yeah, was he part of the Gareth Bale signings, like the Gareth Bale money, where he bought like Lamella and Roberto Soldado and players who never really did anything?
I can't remember, but no, Soldado tried, bless him. He was a trier. I think he got one goal that season, which was a penalty. Was it 2 penalties? I think he might have scored a few penalties. Pendado, wasn't it?
So what you're telling me is he was just a glorified Jorginho?
Not even glorified. He was good on the ball. I couldn't fault him for that, but he just was unlucky with scoring. He was someone that needed the ball placed to his feet to score.
Hence why he scored 2 penalties then.
That's why he scored 2 penalties, yeah, because the ball was at his foot.
Blimey. Oh, that's nice from Højbjerg. And Matthew went with Kane as a man of the match because he got the offside, the disallowed goal as well. So that's a good point as well, actually. Kane was wary about that as well. So, yeah, I think that's fair enough, justifiable. Chelsea-wise, it's not really been an impressive performance from Chelsea, though, has it? I think you've got to give it Ziyech just because of how good the goal was.
He's had a couple of good shots.
I'm not sure what Aspilicueta did there to get injured. Looks like he might have just fallen funny right at the end of the game. We've got literally seconds left. There's going to be a Spurs free kick to be clipped in. If they score from here, then it will be even better than Leicester if they can get themselves back in it.
We can get 3 goals now.
Yeah. It's gone all the way back to Lloris, though, so it doesn't look like you will do.
I thought you were on the same time zone as me.
Time zone?
Obviously, it's...
There we are. I am finished now. And that is full time. Chelsea 2, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Chelsea 2, Tottenham Hotspur 0. I mean, I think, to be honest with you, how boring those sort of final 15, 20 minutes are. I think it spoke about sort of how easy it was for Chelsea in that second half, to be honest with you. It was just 2 goals, pretty quick succession, then cruise to victory. There was no real questions asked of them all game, was there, really?
I think we had, what do we have? 1 shot? 1 shot on target, 1 goal disallowed. I think if we'd scored that goal, it would have probably given us a bit more momentum.
Yeah.
But I still think we would have either lost or drawn the game. I couldn't see us winning that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's It's been a really weird game. Like, I was expecting it to be a bit more heated, especially after that first half. It started to get a bit fiery, and then in the second half, it was just a bit tame, wasn't it? It was like Chelsea scored 2, and then everyone was like, "Oh, I can't be bothered." And like Matthew was put in the chat, 3 wins in the same month, and laughing faces. And it's like, I suppose, going to learn. Are they going to learn like how to play?
I think they're crying faces.
Oh, they are, yeah.
That's pain. I don't, as a Spurs supporter, I sort of watch these games and I think, well, that was terrible. But I'm kind of expecting it at the minute with this team. They just don't perform up to any sort of really good standard.
Yeah.
And I think if we're going to these games and we're playing the same team 3 times in a month, we should be getting something out of it. We should be winning one or drawing one at least, not going there and losing 3 games very, very comfortably.
Yeah, it should definitely, especially on this final game, you would have thought it'd have been a lot closer, and that maybe Spurs would have created a bit more, but they just haven't. They just haven't today, and they've got it wrong again. And maybe part of it for Conte is that extra pressure with it being Chelsea, and what he achieved at Chelsea was so phenomenal, and maybe that is part of the reason the pressure was on. And I'm just going to quickly, whilst we're here, we might as well just take a look at the Premier League table. We're not going to have a look through all the stats again because, to be honest with you, I'm pretty certain, unless you want to play guess the amount of touches with Romelu Lukaku for a second time and see if he actually managed to beat you 20 that you guessed earlier on. I think the real talking point is the Premier League table and where that puts people. So if we look here at the bottom, so as you can see, after this game, it does mean that Spurs still do have 4 games in hand over Chelsea, but that does just extend Chelsea's lead just slightly. I don't think that's actually updated, though. Let me just refresh, give it 2 secs. And
I think that has updated.
Because I feel like we weren't 8 points ahead. I feel like...
Oh, no, it hasn't. I think we were on 19 games previously, weren't we?
Yeah, let me have a look. Premier League table. Let's see if we can get one, because that one's not updated.
I think it has been updated, but it just has the wrong number of games on it. There you go.
There we are. This one will tell us. So Liverpool, Chelsea sit 1 point behind Liverpool now. Liverpool 2 games in hand on Chelsea, and Spurs sit down in 7th, as you can see. Let me just zoom you in a bit so you can see it a bit easier for you. There we are.
I don't really want to see it. I think, have they put Spurs as drawing that game for some reason?
Yeah. I don't think they've updated it. Yeah, I don't think they've updated it. But despite the lack of communication between the Premier League and updating their Premier League tables, Spurs now, 4 games in hand on Chelsea, which sees them 11 points behind. So it is still doable. But like you say, that Manchester City one is obviously a big game, and Chelsea will be back in. Hopefully, Chelsea can back Spurs, and Spurs can do us a favour and just reel in Manchester City again with Liverpool on the hunt behind them as well. My question to you is, Hyro, out of those 4 games, how many points do you want to get, and how many points do you think are realistically achievable?
I'd obviously want to get all of the points, all 12.
Very true.
But maybe 7 points. I can see. From what I remember, we had a couple of relatively easier games, and then we had City and someone else. I can't remember who it was now, but yeah, I think if we can get 7 points at least, that'd be okay. But it's still not going to do us much good in terms of Champions League spots. So we need maximum points, really.
Yeah, because if you look at 7 points obviously takes you to 43 points, which then puts you in touching distance of Chelsea. And if you say everyone else wins, Arsenal win their games, that gives them an extra 9, so they're on 45. West Ham would have an extra 3 points, take them to 40. Obviously, these teams might play each other, so realistically, that won't be achievable. United, 2 games in hand, that'll take them to 44 points. So Tottenham will be in there, and they'll be in and around there. It's just whether they'll be fighting for it. And obviously, it depends on who the other teams have to play, because there might be a couple of 6-pointers in that. We did have 44, Matthew, and now we're on 47 on the other screen. It still said 44. The True Line says back to winning ways. Thankfully, we're back to winning ways. Thankfully, we are back to winning ways. If you had to, Hyro, give your top 4 right now, who would it be?
I think we're probably looking at it.
You're going to stick with City, Liverpool, Chelsea?
I would really like Spurs to be in the top 4. But I just don't feel we've got that consistency right now. If we don't get any new players in January, I really can't see us breaking to top 4. Probably 5th, but I think 4 will be a bit difficult consistency-wise.
Yeah.
I mean, we played half our games now, and we're outside the top 4. I just can't see us sticking in it.
Yeah, I mean, at least the positive, like we said, is there are the fact that you do have those extra games in hand, and it does depend. I wonder if I can see, if I click on here, if I can see some of the fixtures for Tottenham upcoming, although they're all hashed out by the looks of things there. So let's have a look. Where are we up to here? Tottenham versus Brighton, you've got that in the FA Cup. Then Southampton, which will be a hard one. Wolves, they're really hard to score against. City, Leeds are going to be scrapping at that relegation dogfight. So are Everton. And then you've got, that is a big couple of games there for you, isn't it? United and West Ham back to back in the Premier League. That's a big weekend. That's a big couple of weekends, isn't it, for you?
Yeah, I think, that's why I can't see us getting more than 7 points with these games in hand at a push. I just don't think we've got, until we've got Son back, I don't think we've got that firepower to get the goals. I mean, if you look at our goal difference, it's pretty bad. I think it's on 2.
Yeah, yeah, it is pretty bad. Yeah, that is very true. A lot of the teams this season seem to be struggling with goal difference, and as you can see, United on 6 plus 6, and other than the fact that West Ham are on 10, there's no one outside the top 3 who are actually in double digits, and 9 teams are the only teams that are technically positive, and obviously Brighton are even, so I don't even know if you class that as positive. But it's definitely concerning for Tottenham. But if you use your games in hand wisely, and like you'd hope, then maybe brighter things could happen for you. But that is obviously that's a lot of if, buts and maybes, isn't it? A lot of if, buts and maybes. But I think we're going to leave you there, guys. And Matthew says, man, I should get praise for staying here the whole stream. I really do appreciate that. Thank you, Matthew. And I appreciate that for keeping us up to date and filling in for the facts as well when myself and Hyro couldn't find the facts we were looking for. So I do appreciate that. And I appreciate everyone who has been watching the stream tonight. And of course, thank you, Hyro, for coming on. Hopefully you have enjoyed it.
It was a pleasure. I've been waiting to come on for a while. So enjoyed it. Pity we couldn't turn around that game a bit more. I preferred if we'd won, obviously, and that would have felt better for me coming here. But
absolutely. Absolutely, and I'm sure next time round we might have a different result, but with the like Matthew told us, it probably won't change, will it? 1990, 1 win at the Premier League, so who knows? But we'll leave you guys there. Thank you for watching. Chelsea 2-0 up, back to winning ways, of course. And Shrafter says he was here for the whole stream as well. So thank you as well, and thank you to everyone who has been in for the stream tonight. It's been a good game in terms of Chelsea perspective. Got themselves back to winning ways, beating rivals Tottenham Hotspur. But in terms of football, all-round football, not really the greatest of games. And like Shrafter says there, a clean sheet as well. That will fill Chelsea's defenders with a lot of confidence for the rest of the season. Hopefully so. Anyway, and again, thank you, Hyro, for coming on and joining me. If you are new to the channel, guys, Don't forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe. Lots of videos coming on this channel in the upcoming weeks, in the upcoming days. So do be sure you've got your notifications bell turned on if you want to keep up to date with everything going on in the world of Sam Redgate-Large. I mean, I don't know why you would want to, but there we are. I'll leave you there, guys. Thank you for watching, and most importantly, guys, stay safe. Cheers.